Hey guys, hello and welcome to Spud Life with me, your host, Tatty Tim. Okay, so without further ado, let's crack on with this week's episode. Hello there and welcome back to another episode of Spud Life. Here we are again in the Caravan of Love with another person I've known for a long time in Penrith. On his birth certificate he's known as Stuart Hodgson, but he's better known to everybody in town. Generations of children, generations of people that have grown up and now had children, as Stu do. How you doing, Stu?
Oh, nice to see you again.
Thank you very much for coming. Thanks a lot for coming, man. So, for everyone that doesn't know, Stu is a magician and a children's entertainer.
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah. And a little bird tells me that you've just been initiated into the magic circle.
Yeah, the
hallowed magic circle.
Yeah, the magic circle in London there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was that always should we go back right to the very beginning?
Okay.
Where did it start? Where did your love of kind of magic and trickery and all that sort of thing begin?
It started. I've got a photograph of when it started and everything
Really?
as well. Yeah, not with me unfortunately, but 8 years old, getting a Paul Daniels magic set from Santa at my dad's works Christmas party.
Excellent.
You know, you go to the company, put stuff on for the family. The family will go to the offices. There'll be little games and everything.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of me getting the present from Santa there, and that was the Paul Daniels magic set. And yeah, that was me just hooked us into it.
Was it? What was in there? Just simple sort of card tricks?
There was simple sort of little tricks. I mean, Paul Daniels had a huge range of different sets that he put out. It's just like a beginner's children's set.
Yeah.
And that was me. I just really enjoyed the puzzle and clicked with me. Had an affinity
is that the
with
way
me.
your sort of mind works then? Would you say most magicians' minds work in that kind of mechanical, taking things apart, deconstructing and then putting them back together? Is that how you would say your kind of mind works?
It's like there's a lot of I know a lot of guys who are magicians. They work on they do puzzles or they crosswords. You know, they've got a different way of thinking things. Yeah. And yeah, which for me, I used to watch Paul Daniels every week on TV at the time. Obviously, you know.
You like it?
And it was and Whizbit and everything else he used to do, and
even back in like TV programs for kids back then, there was a lot of magicians and a lot of magical stuff in them as well, wasn't there? It wasn't just Saturday evening we were all waiting for the Paul Daniels magic show, was it? You know, there was stuff on. I can't think off the top of my head, but there was loads of stuff on TV growing up that was kind of magic-y. There was always seemed to be a magician on. Yeah, well,
Paul Daniels then, he used to get other magicians from other parts of the world in regular times. Wayne Dobson was on the ITV.
Yes.
Doing his stuff on there as well, and it was a golden age of magic back then.
It was.
I mean, we had 3 channels at the time back then, didn't we?
And everybody, you either were watching BBC or ITV.
No internet.
It was usually like, what was it? The Saturday night special that was on, and it was usually just in the summertime, wasn't it? And they'd have like it'd be a bit like the Radio 1 Road show, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
They'd kind of like, they'd have this TV show and they'd go into like Weston-super-Mare and all the kind of the typical English seaside resorts, and it'd be in a big top, and they'd have like a bit of a circusy type show on, wouldn't they? And then usually after that was around about tea time, about 6, half 6, wasn't it? And then Paul Daniels would usually be on around about 7 o'clock, wouldn't it?
But he was, the viewing figures he was getting was phenomenal, and he was on
immense.
I meant to look it up before, but I think it was into 20 million and over like 18 years or whatever. He was doing it every week.
Was it that long?
Yeah, it was great. I'm probably getting completely wrong, and when this goes out, people will correct me. But I know it was an incredibly long time, and he had to think up new things all the time, because once it was on TV, he was creating stuff during the week.
And it was an hour-long show.
Yeah.
And I know he usually had 2 guests, 3 at the most, didn't he? But nevertheless, all the stuff that he had to create or adapt for his own kind of style.
Yeah, he used to have to think of it on a Monday, build it on a Tuesday, practice on a Wednesday, and
do it on a Saturday.
And it was filmed on a Saturday.
I remember that one with the car, and it was I think it was one of the first kind of shock type magic tricks that was on television. It's one that I vividly remember, and I think it was at Santa Pod or one of the racetracks, something like that, and was in a cardboard box or something like that, and it was I'm pretty sure it was all chained up, and I'm pretty sure it was Paul Daniels. You could correct me if I'm wrong, but it was kind of like this car was whizzing round the track. And it was going to take. It'll have been someone like James Hunt or someone like that. So it'll have been some sort of famous racing driver. They'll have got to. It takes him 30 seconds to get round this track. Will Paul get out the cardboard box in time? And then it was kind of like the car drove over there. And it was like, Jesus Christ. You know, one of the first things.
Yeah.
It's funny how things kind of stick with you. I mean, I suppose nowadays the only similar thing would be Britain's Got Talent, wouldn't it? When they have a lot of kind of magic acts on that. And a lot of them are kind of really near the. Even though you know it's kind of, you think, it's almost that sharp intake of breath, and it's like, bloody hell.
We see some of the. I've seen people do like, you know, the water tank escapes and stuff like that and everything. And thinking, how long is he in there for?
It's crazy.
Try and hold your breath at the same time. It's
crazy.
Yeah.
So you went from the Paul Daniels magic set, and I'm guessing sort of doing it in front of the family.
Well, it was just sort of it was a hobby sort of thing, and then, you know, sort of you get to be a teenager and you discover alcohol and girls, and
so
and that just goes to the side. Then in the early 90s, with 1990, I used to work for McDonald's as a student, as a part-time job, and one day they said, we need someone to do the kids' birthday parties. Because back in them days, everyone had the birthday parties. We didn't have Ronald McDonald there, but it
was that sort of era when it was.
Everyone sat on the little toadstools,
and it was made to look. It was a proper little magical corner of McDonald's.
You had all the murals with McDonald Land up there, and you you played a couple of party games with the children. You took the birthday child and the best friend round a tour of the kitchen, like next to the 300-degree oil fryers and. The freezers that were minus 20 degrees. And they made their own milkshake and they went back, and you know it was good fun. And they said, we need someone to do it, and I was like, it's summer. It's really hot in this kitchen. I'll do it. Put my hand up to it. So that was me. I got sent away to head office. Which was up in the Midlands, not too far from where you're from. And a 2-day training course on McDonald Land. Had to learn all the characters, and
so it wasn't like Stu, can you just fill in for the guy? It was literally you were properly trained.
It was it was the corporate message, even at those days back in the early 90s. I mean, bizarrely, I can remember Hamburglar is 4 foot 1 inches tall. That's stuck in my head forever. And he never stole the burgers; he borrowed them. You know, and you know
all sorts of things like this.
And burgers grow in patches, and fries grow in thatches, and the lakes were cola and the rivers were milkshake, or the other way around, and it was all this sort of that you had to
remember sort of and kind of.
So as I was doing these parties with the children, I would just occasionally throw in a magic trick, every now and again, just a little bit of pieces.
So you were still kind of just dabbling at that point,
just little bits, and so that paid my way through being a student. I went to college in Durham. So I was originally in High Wycombe, Buckinghamshire. That's where I grew up. So I started working there, and then I transferred my job to the Metro Centre. And then the second year there was a store open in Durham, so I worked up there all the way through college at McDonald's, and then when I left, my dad was like, right, as you're messing about, get a proper job now. So sidelined again, and I worked in the city for a few years. And,
did you?
Yeah, the London Stock Exchange.
No.
Yeah, did you? I was a.
You were a banker.
I was a news editor in a regulatory news service.
Right.
Which
so what did that entail?
Well, basically, if you were a PLC, you have to disclose certain information that could affect your share price. And you've got to send it to the stock exchange, and then they tell everyone all at once. And it was sort of on these screens called Reuters screens, which is like teletext of the day sort of thing. But it went all around the world at the same time. Well, I worked in the department that got all the news first. So we'd be like, here's this story, you need to release this at 8:30 a.m. on this day, and then everyone sees it once, so there's no insider dealing. They can all buy the shares. But we were getting information days or even a week before it was public. You know, sometimes minutes. You know, but you know, if Man United were PLC back then, if they bought a new player, they had to tell us before they told the papers.
So
there was no internet back then as well. You know, so we. And we couldn't buy or sell shares ourselves. None of our family could. It was very
insider trading. That would have been.
And it was Wolf of Wall Street sort of lifestyle down there. It was work hard, play hard, and did that for a few years. I was a news editor. Then I was a team leader. Had my own team there.
How did you fall into that? Did you something you just applied for, or what?
I worked in one of the a temping job when I moved to London.
Yeah.
Just with one of the companies used to send information to it, and a job came up.
Right.
And I'll go for
You
it.
just went for it.
And just
Got it.
yeah, I got in there, and I think it was like the
early
youngest.
20s then, or
So that'd have been 90, 95. So I'd be coming up 22, something like that. Yeah.
Right.
So
just
yeah,
a good age
I was
to be in London and living
I was
that
the
lifestyle.
at the time. I think I was the youngest news editor at the time.
But actually
got in
editor
there
as well.
Yeah,
That's insane.
and just little things that I grew up going through Cubs and Scouts and Venture Scouts, and went backpacking in America and stuff with them.
Yeah.
And the guy on the interview panel, he was a Scout leader.
No way.
And it was on my CV, and that got me in. We started chatting. We broke things down, and we gelled.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much that helped me or not.
Yeah.
But that just got me
I think
sort of.
that's going to help a lot.
If there's a little link there with
there's
someone you can.
Yeah. Because they say it doesn't happen, but it will happen with like the Old Boys Network, and it's got to, and that.
It wasn't really like an Old Boys Network type thing, but it was more sort of like I could see that, and you've
you got something in common.
Yeah,
and it like you say, it broke down that kind of barrier, that formal barrier that probably would have had an interview.
I think like real personality then comes out in the interview, because you relax chatting about things that you know, and then you can then show that you know other bits.
Other bits as well.
But it was good. It was just it was crazy time to be in there, because those were the days of IRA threats and things like that. There's no Al Qaeda, but it was just the ring of steel around the city of London, and just no bins anywhere, and working the stock exchange, it was a risk building as well.
So the high security to get in there must have been insane.
It just we had things like I can say this now because it doesn't exist anymore, but we had if the stock exchange got taken down by a threat, whether that was a bomb, fire, flood, whatever, we had to be up and running within 90 minutes.
Really?
Because otherwise, at the time, you could see the UK economy could have collapsed. Just panic selling, and all the other markets around the world. And the UK is very much a financial economy. And I was in charge of our disaster recovery site. So, we about 10 minutes walk away from where the stock exchange tower was. You walk down this nondescript street. Just plain fronted buildings and just like offices or whatever buildings. And there was a metal pole outside one, and you had a card and just slid it into this metal pole, door open, lift right inside the door, took you
fantastic.
4 floors below ground level,
No way.
opened up, and there was brand new offices there, all laid out with everything ready.
Awesome. That's like
it was
proper film.
James Bond stuff, it was just, and we'd go in, and I had to make sure all the information there was up to date, so I had to go there at least once a month.
I was going to say, she'd have to go there quite regular.
And just,
I bet it was quite creepy though, wasn't it? Was you the only one in that particular building?
I'd take one person with me from the department, so they knew where it was in case of an emergency, that if we ever had to use it, we'd...
In case something happened to you.
But things sort of like...
That's
little things like... We had all the desks laid out with all the computers had to be there ready to run, to switch on. So they were sitting there doing nothing. Computers.
And they'll have been high-end gear at that time, weren't they?
And all your paperwork there. But even just little things, I always remember, like, we didn't have any biros there.
Right.
We're all pencils, because a biro could dry up. And then you get there to have to use the office in emergency, and the pens don't work.
Wow.
So your pencils, a pencil will work, no matter how long it's been sat there. The lead will still work in a pencil, whereas a biro could,
So someone had actually thought.
If you just think of it, if you had like, just get a box of 50 biros in the drawer, that's fine for we need it.
Just
don't use it for 2 years.
They're going to dry up and not be usable.
So we had that. So when they were like when there were fire drills, you were sort of, nobody was meant to know it's a drill. They meant to treat it as real. But with my role there, most of the time I knew they were drills. So I would be staying behind as a skeleton service to keep the office running. They're like, Stu, come on out the building. Come on, you've got to get down the stairs. No, it's fine. Don't worry. No, Stu, the job's not worth it. Come with us. No, you were like, you're okay. I'm fine. They said, no, Stu, save yourself. Just remember one I was almost like dragged out one fire drill, and then I said, it's a drill. I know it is a drill. I've got to stay here and keep tapping away at the computer. You'll be back in 15 minutes.
That's brilliant. So was it just like a normal drill? Everyone just hanging around outside?
Well, you'd have to walk.
Have a name check.
Again, our sort of what do they call it where you go and meet up again? Like not a muster point, but something like that. Yeah, no, where you have to go and have your roll call.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, the evacuation area. That was sort of a good 5-10 minutes walk away, because if the tower came down, you couldn't have it by the back door, could you?
No, yeah.
Because you'd be under the rubble, you know.
I bet a lot of them traders, I bet they hated fire drills, because they're literally time is money, isn't it?
And I mean, we used to work, when I originally started there, we worked on the trading floor.
Yeah.
So the trading floor was just like you'd see.
Was that exactly what you'd see?
Trading places, for example. Huge, vast.
Everyone go insane.
About the size of 2 football pitches.
Is it? Was it that
just
big?
Completely open, and this high ceiling with just tiny little windows right at the top. You know, so in the winter you never saw daylight during Monday to Friday. Because you'd be in at 6 in the morning, and then you'd be out till whenever.
You'd be in at 6.
Well, I had being a team leader, I was one of the 4 people who would have keys to the safe and would open things up starting in the morning. So normal hours were 7 till 3 or 10 till 6. You had like an early shift or a late shift. But invariably you work.
And that was the traders as well. That was the.
But this was us, not rather than the traders. Traders, trading would start at. The news would start coming out at 7:30.
Right.
I think trading used to start at 8. I think.
Right.
But yeah, we had to get in early, get everything fired up. And let's say it was before email was in infancy back then.
Yeah. So what was it coming in on? It was telex or what?
We had telex was coming in, fax, and then typing it back out from fax. Kids won't know what fax is these days.
And I bet you had couriers or motorbikes.
Couriers coming through, and the room was that big. We used to actually pay people to run with pieces of paper from one end of the room to the other.
Literally a runner.
Because it wasn't efficient for you to walk over there and leave your desk and walk back again. You'd like take that over to
run over there, and their job was just literally running back from desk to desk.
And it's very very much old boys sort of situation. Went there, pinstripe suits. No, if you wore a short sleeve shirt.
Really?
It's got to be long sleeves, cufflinks, collar tips.
Wow.
Brown shoes. No. Got to be black shoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Proper old school.
Just really, And
so it'll have just been one step previous to the old bowler hats. And
It was really was sort of like that. That was traditional sort of way.
Yeah.
And was I coming in? I've always been like a bit of a jokey sort of. I was the class clown sort of thing, One year I got a remote control car for my birthday. So I said, I never had one as a kid. So I got one off the girlfriend, and I took it into work with me. So instead of using the runner, bulldog clip, we set up jumps and stuff like that. And these guys are going, who is this young upstart coming and doing this? Not impressed. I wasn't allowed to bring it in again, but we were whizzing this car across the
trading floor.
Yeah.
The London Stock Exchange.
I
bet it's the norm now. Mind you, it'll not be the norm now. That'll just be a touch of a
button. I mean, they're not even in that. The company aren't even in that building anymore. It was the Stock Exchange Tower, and I think at the time it had about 26. Yeah, the chairman had a penthouse at the top floor.
Yeah.
It's like 26th floor or something like that. So, and that was like one of the highest buildings in London at the time. And I went last year for the marathon and was looking at one of those viewpoints. I couldn't find it. And it's like, it's that tiny one down there. Because everything is just so huge now in just, 25 years. It just all
completely changed.
At the time, we were towering above everything else.
Yeah.
We were next door to the Bank of England, Lloyd's of London round the corner, and NatWest Tower, and these were not tiny little buildings compared to what there is now.
So that would have been, what's the area called? Canary Wharf?
Well, it was Bank in the city, Bank. Canary Wharf was over further by.
Was that not where NatWest had their tower?
NatWest Tower was...
Or was it kind of in between the two?
NatWest Tower was in the city.
Was it?
In Bank.
In the city, right.
But you had the Canary Wharf with the pyramid at the top and everything with the flashing light for so the planes don't hit it.
Because wasn't that
was there.
Bit of a financial district?
That's financial district down there. Yeah. That is. There's very much. We had our servers for the computers down there.
Right, but the proper old school bit. Where you were.
Threadneedle Street was where the Bank of England is, just you go over one road and there's a Stock Exchange Tower was there, and
proper.
You just go to you'd be in the pub every day.
But there was a massive pub culture.
Lunchtime, you'd have 3.5 pints in an hour, then go back to work. eat your lunch at your desk to soak up the alcohol.
Yeah.
Then you're back in the pub for 6 o'clock till 9 o'clock, and the pub's all shut at 9 o'clock in the city because no one lives in the city.
I suppose no one lives there.
It's all workers.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you want to go to a pub that stays later, you go to Liverpool Street or you go up west or.
Yeah, yeah.
So you did that hour at lunchtime and then 3 hours.
What, pretty much 6,
5 days a week, and then being a young guy at weekends, I was out partying on the weekends as well. It's just, I couldn't do it now. Definitely could not do it now. No, no.
I mean, that's your way to spend your youth, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, that's you were earning the money, you were living the lifestyle.
Oh yeah, we just payday would go into the pub and like, there's for the slate, like that, and just hand it out. You hand it wages of cash, pay my slate off on payday, and everyone was doing the same. And
did you get paid in cash then, or did you get?
No, it was normal pay, but you just walking. Put on the slate, you know, because he knew us were coming at the time.
Known, come Friday.
Yeah,
you'll have paid it all off.
So it just, it was crazy times.
Yeah,
and I loved it, but it is work hard, play hard. But it wasn't a job you could do.
It's not a long-term option, is it?
No,
if you start that in your 20s, by your 30s, you're looking to be out of there, aren't you?
Yeah.
You can see why a lot of them sort of burn out, and the vast amounts of money that they earn. You know, they'd be silly not to invest it in. Well, they know what to invest it in, don't they? So,
well, I wasn't a trader, so I wasn't getting the vast amount of money either. We were well paid for what we did, but it wasn't the silly. It wasn't. It wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, but young and single, and it's all loads of money, isn't it?
Still good. It's still good. Because did a sort of accommodation come with the?
No. We just had a house share with some friends that I knew from college.
Was it still silly expensive back then as it is now down there, or not?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember.
A large chunk of your wages went in rent.
Yeah, I mean, I remember living first flat that moved into with my then girlfriend back at the time. Then, when I was still working in the city, it was near Wembley. It was at Dollis Hill, a couple of stops away from Wembley. So zone 2. So, but still half an hour, 40 minutes from work.
Yeah.
And that was for a 1-bedroom studio, which was tiny. It wasn't much bigger than the caravan of love, really.
No way.
It was £550 a month.
That was 25 years ago.
That was coming up, 30 years ago nearly. You know, I think it was 96. That would have been 96, 97, something like that. Yeah. So just
That's mental. Place.
Yeah.
No wonder.
Yeah, and that was like I say, there wasn't even slap bang in the centre.
Yeah.
So, but that was just everything was expensive back there, but like it is still now.
Well,
just So it's just silly, but.
So what happened? What was the next?
Well, next stage then, I met a girl.
That's water.
We got married, and she was from Brampton, the other side of Carlisle.
Mm-hmm.
So I got made redundancy came up as an offer.
Yeah.
It's like, the department we worked with was going to be outsourced to another company, and said, "Do you want to take redundancy?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, we'll take it."
Because you've been working there for a while.
About 4 years, something like that. Whatever it was, not that long. So, but the redundancy was good.
Yeah.
So we said, "Well, do we move up to Cumbria when we're in our 50s, or do we do it now and bring kids up?" And that's what we did. So we moved up here in the end of '98. Beginning of '99,
right?
And then we had 2 kids.
So you moved up here after me,
right?
I moved up here sort of '95, '96.
Yeah.
So, but I just assumed you were always always there.
No.
There you go. You learned.
So I moved up here then, and then we had kids. And then you realise when they have kids how expensive those little blighters are.
Yeah.
Don't you?
Don't you?
So I remember we'd taken the eldest to some party somewhere or seen some entertainer. I said, "Oh, I used to do stuff like that, you know."
So when you were back in London, that was completely not even touched.
No, it wasn't touched at all. No, nothing.
Just something I did.
Work, play. That was it. Yeah, it wasn't.
So then now, kids are coming up and there's children's parties and things like that. It's like,
just saw this. I don't even know it was at a kids' party, maybe some event or something, just a family event. And so, well, I used to do stuff like that, you know, and I used to like a bit of magic and used to do parties for kids. So I did some research.
Yeah.
The internet was out there by now.
Yeah.
Man find some forums on the internet and did some research, chatted to a few other kids entertainers, and I managed to bump into a guy that I don't know if he still does, but he used to run or part run Struts in Carlisle,
right?
Fancy dress place.
Yeah, yeah.
And he used to be back in the day like a really good kids entertainer, Mickey the Clown, and according to other people I knew, he said he was the one to book sort of 10, 15 years earlier. He was the bee's knees.
Yeah, yeah.
So I introduced myself to him. We chatted over a few meetings, and he sort of recommended some stuff to me, sold me some other stuff part time.
Yeah.
And after about 4 or 5 months, I'd come up with a script for a show. And said, okay, I'll go on. I'll do a show. And bizarrely, next month would be the 20th anniversary of the first ever Studio Do show.
Really?
Yeah, so, and I've got it. I do have a copy of it on VHS, which I've never looked at for donkey's years. But yeah, it was one of my son's friends at his school, and so I do it with him for free and everything for the kid's birthday. And that was the first time Studio Do existed at all. Yeah,
awesome.
And
how did you come up with the name?
My nieces and nephew used to call me Uncle Studio Do when they were little,
right?
Because they thought Uncle Stuart was too boring. Because I was the silly, playing pranks, joking about, messing about uncle. I wasn't Uncle Stu. And when you try to think of performing names, it was sort of like, Magic Stew or Uncle Stu, the kiddies entertainer. Yeah. It didn't.
It's kind of got that same
70s.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
It wasn't sort of then and now. So Studio Do, we'll do that. And was later, it sort of rhymes with that cartoon dog, but doesn't quite infringe copyright. So people remember it.
Very true.
But yeah, so yes, that's what that came from, and it bizarrely just snowballed.
No way, just
really did. It get more and more, and I was working every weekend doing kids' parties.
What were you doing?
I was working
day job back then.
I was working in an office in Embark Bridge.
Yeah.
The big old mansion house.
Yeah.
Well planned. I worked there. I got a job there. Started there in when did I start there? Started there in the June '99.
Yeah.
So I was working there Monday to Friday. And I was out weekends, and then I was starting taking time off, finishing work early in the afternoon to go and do after school parties. And it just got to the point that my wife was a promotion was coming up.
Right.
At work, so look, if you get this promotion,
then
I can jack the day job, which I was really not enjoying by then, and throw everything into the entertainment business, which I'm really loving. Yeah. And I only need to do so many parties per month to make the same amount. Yeah. You're earning more. I can do the nursery school pickups and drop-offs and all this sort of stuff. It was swapping around roles, traditional roles, if you like.
Yeah.
And that's what we did. Yeah, it just 19 years now full time doing that. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it did snowball that quickly from the sort of first one. And
it's just continued. It never. Obviously, COVID it would have took a massive.
Yeah, I've been. I don't know how, but I've been incredibly lucky with so many different things that it just happened. It just sort of. When I turned full time, I did a little press release to the Herald and the Cumberland News. And bizarrely, somebody said, send it into ITV like this. I went, what? So I did, and they came back and said, we want you for Board and News.
Wow.
Can we follow you around and do see you do a show and go and talk to where you used to work and all this sort of stuff? I said, yeah, sure. And they did like a 3.5 minute segment on the Tea Time News.
Wow. This is like
on me.
Man leaves job to become
and it was I was front page of the Herald and the Cumberland News and everything for doing this. I think one of the titles was Shock Exchange. I mean, going from the stock exchange to bring my kids into it, it's a new story. It worked, and I understand that why it worked. But that brought me 6 months solid work.
Did he?
Because after I went out, those days it was sort of like
phone,
yellow page as big as advert you could afford. And phone. That's how there was no Google and Facebook or anything like that. No, none of that at all.
Nothing like that.
So it was just and it was word of mouth, and you get so many people, and especially in this area, word of mouth counts for a huge amount. Yeah, people like someone they trust. You know, it's that snowballed there, and I spent years just doing local stuff and bits and pieces, and got into a few of the local tourist attractions. Sort of Ravenglass Railway or Warby Farm Park, and And then I got an email one day saying, could I come down to Cadbury World for a showcase?
What, down in Birmingham?
Yeah. So,
No way.
So I knew. So I thought, okay, give it a go. And I went down there, and there must have been another like 15 acts down there in this big marquee, and I knew most of them.
Yeah. Yeah, because
we go to conventions and there's not many of us around really.
Yeah.
Especially in this county, there's not many, but even nationally, there's not overly many of us. You know, I've seen some other guys do this, and it was hard work because we were promised an audience.
And it was just an audience of your peers.
And it was just sort of like the 10, 15 people at the back of the marquee waiting their turn, and the manager and an assistant sat there as an audience. And everybody was really struggling.
I bet they were.
Because there was no atmosphere, nothing at all. And I was really feeling for them. I was like, oh, this is just so good. I know those guys are good. These are my peers. These are the guys I look up to. And I'm gonna die on my backside here. I'm gonna be really, really awful. And you know, then I noticed a couple of acts were taking half an hour to set the stage, and then in a half an hour to clear it. And I thought, they don't want this. They want you on in a minute or two.
Yeah.
Do your act, and then off as quickly as you can.
Yeah.
So I streamlined my act to know that was going to happen beforehand.
Was this showcase because they wanted to choose?
They wanted some acts for Cadbury World.
Right.
Yeah.
So like you say, they didn't want someone pissing about for half an hour each side of the act, did they?
And I knew from a friend who already did some shows for them that sometimes you'd sort of double up on entertainers.
Right.
So you'd have like 2 entertainers doing 3 shows each day, 6 shows over a day.
Right.
For the people who do the tour around Cadbury World,
then
they come to the show marquee, and you'd see 1 half-hour show, and then 15 minutes later there'd be a different half-hour show with a different entertainer.
Yeah.
So you've got 15 minutes to clear your stage and the other act to set the stage.
Yeah.
You can't be
piddling about, can you?
So I'd already designed my show around that. I knew I'd be quick on. So that's one thing. So she said, right, your turn, Stuart. Okay, fine. So on stage, so do you want me to start that show? Hold on just 1 second. Okay, so I'm sort of stood there and all my friends at the back looking around, and she opened the door. She said, in you come, guys. School trip, 60, 70 kids, all age 5 and 6. In you come, guys, come and have a seat down there. And I'm like, oh yes, this is me.
There is a God.
And then she jumped aside and she went, oh, just 1 second. In you come, guys. Another school trip. There's another 40, 50 kids all coming in. All that, I think they were just like the year above or whatever. Yeah.
So a load of
over 100 kids.
Probably all on a sugar rush as well. Yeah. They've been at Cadbury as well.
Yeah, a load of the teachers and everything as well. And it just you know when you're good, you know when you're rubbish, and you know when things absolutely go spot on. It went spot on that day, and all I could see was that a couple of my friends at the back of the marquee give me just like marks 1 out of 2 or 2 out of 2, you know, certain fingers, because I had this audience there. And I thought, right, I've got to finish my spot, get off quickly, and then hopefully someone else can get in as well. You know, I wouldn't help out. So I was like, cleared the stage, and all the kids just got up and, right, kids, off we go to the next part, and they were left, and they're back to no one again.
So it literally was just coincidental.
I got the perfect storm there. And it just happened.
Wow.
I was incredibly lucky.
Yeah.
And I got the call back, and they said, right, do you want to come do some shows? And that was me for 7 years doing shows for them.
Down in Birmingham?
So I would do, I don't know, 50, 60 shows a year, something like that, whatever like that. You know, go down and I would sort of stay over. The first year I'd take whatever date they had. Get my feet under the table. Yeah. And then
did they put you
then
up
after that, no, that's down to me. Did you? And then the second year, like, we know you're travelling so far away. Yeah. So we put you like 2, 3, 4 days in a row.
Excellent.
So I would just travel lodge or the nearest budget place to stay or whatever like that, and then I'll just be
in and out.
And just awesome. It was fine. You know, you have sometimes you have 400 or 500 people in each show watching you. Yeah.
So it was just a big old stage and
staging, lighting, everything all in there.
PA system.
Yeah. Well, you brought your own PAs in for that.
Did you?
So but it was It was good. It just got you really honed into working to bigger crowds.
I mean, that's like another level again, isn't it?
Yeah, because before then I'd just been used to like 20 kids the most in a village hall, 10 kids in a living room, and seeing the whites of their eyes right up close. You know, now it's sort of like stage lights, and you're getting less seeing
maybe
out
the first 2 rows of people, and the rest is just the lights of the auditorium, isn't it?
Yeah. So that happened, and then just one year, I didn't get the call back. It just stopped, and they went a different direction. And at that point, there were 3 of us doing the shows for them, and they just stopped. They stopped for all of us.
All of you, right.
Yeah.
So
and they went. It wasn't down to an act. It was down to they chose a different direction.
Which is fair enough. I mean, everything has its day, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like 7 years. You got a good run on it, and it's you know, fair. Brilliant.
So that happened, and then it was like, oh, what do I do? You know, still doing the kids' parties.
Yeah.
Doing that kids' parties, christenings, weddings, all the sorts of school shows.
Yeah.
Anything around here, and I was like, oh, so much of my eggs have been in that
one.
My cream eggs, to effect, being in the Cadbury basket. You know?
Yeah.
And now that's gone. What do I do? So a bit of a nervous moment, and then Blackpool Tower, they got rid of. Was it Jungle Jacks, Jungle Gyms, whatever they say. There's a soft play on there.
Right.
And they ripped that out and created an entertainment venue on there called the 5th Floor.
Right.
And they opened that up, and I knew the guy who was running it. And it was like, why don't you just come down and be one of the hosts and do some spots, do some magic in there and everything.
Wow.
So I got doing some shows for them.
So you've never applied for anything. You've just been given it.
Yeah, that happened. I say pure luck, and fabulous venue. I mean, I remember doing the opening night when it opened, and I caused the whole tower to be evacuated.
What did you do? Set the fire alarms?
I'm on the stage. On the stage, you have like you have a little DJ box, and you have your stage, and everybody's down there. It was all a family-friendly venue.
Yeah,
lovely. It was really well laid out and beautifully designed, and there were table service for your food and drinks, so you didn't have to leave your kids at table to go to the bar or anything like that.
Yeah.
And they were having like, you know, singers and jugglers and magicians and all sort of variety acts in there to entertain people all day. It was all free entry as well.
Was it?
Yeah. It was fantastic, fabulous venue. And the boss was up in the upstairs DJ box at the back, and he was like, Stu, we need some more smoke on the stage. Get the atmosphere going. Put the smoke. Okay, sure. Okay. Yeah. Colin said, Stu, we need more smoke. We need more atmosphere. Come on, we've got to build this. It's opening night. Come on, let's do this better. I said, you sure? I went, yeah, more smoke. Okay. Stu, more smoke again. And then, and the whole tower, from the top to the circus, everyone out on the street.
Oh, God.
And people are like, I'm telling you, you have to leave your drink, sir. It'll be there when you come back. Trust me, it'll be there when you come back. You have to leave your drink. You've got to go down by the stairs. You've got to go down by the stairs. And this is, oh, no. But I was doing as I was told. But,
exactly.
But, yeah, it was a tricky one there, because it was a beautiful venue, but Blackpool's just awful for parking. There's no parking at the tower at all.
Is there not?
No, not for acts at all, nothing like that at all.
Wow.
So, you know, you'd have to park somewhere in another car park and then wheel all your gear across town.
Oh,
and then sometimes you're working till, 10 o'clock at night, and then coming back through Blackpool.
Yeah. All the stag and hen days.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then you're parking and then travel and all that
especially if you've got a bit of makeup still left on or whatever.
I've never worn makeup.
Have you never?
No.
Have you not?
No, only on telly. I always keep one of my heads a bit shiny these days, but I've never
felt them.
I keep thinking I should have some mascara or guy liner or whatever you want to call it, but I've never.
It's obviously works.
So I probably sweat too much. It'll probably all streak down there. I'll end up looking like someone from Kiss, by the end of it, or like Rob Smith from The Cure. It's just everywhere. But yeah, it's so that. And that ended with COVID.
Oh right, so that was
COVID came along.
Yeah,
that stopped.
Kaboosh.
And obviously, I got very ill with COVID right at the beginning. Right at the first month of lockdown, I was very There's about 3 weeks I was ill, and about 2 or 3 days in the middle I thought I was going in the box. Genuinely. And those days, no one really knew what it was because it was that early.
Yeah.
But I was struggling to breathe, living on my own. It would hit you like a sack of potatoes. I'd sort of like, you pick up a bit thinking, it's like the flu, I've been in, I've sweated it out. I'll get myself to the loo, I'll go and get a glass of water. That's me, out. And then it'd hit you. I was at one point 7 hours on the hallway floor. I couldn't even crawl back to my bedroom. I live in a bungalow. Couldn't even crawl to the bedroom.
God.
It was just
It was
that
physically.
And you were biting air because I couldn't suck it in. Someone described it once, and I said it's exactly right. It's breathing through concrete.
Bloody hell.
And I just, you know, at that point, I remember one time in my bed writing a letter to my kids, saying where the life insurance was, where the important stuff was, in case I didn't wake up the next time, because it's just so scary.
Bloody hell.
And that then spurned, after getting better from there, I was like, right, the weight loss and everything else from there. But then after, when COVID ended, I got a call out of the blue again. So I like these calls. Hi Stu, I'm an agent. I've been recommended you. Any chance you could do a gig for me at Haven Holiday Park? And it was Seaton Sands in Edinburgh. And he said, are you free on this day? So what do you want to do? So a 45-minute magic show for Holiday Park. See, people are getting pinged by the app all the time at this stage. When the app would ping you, close contact, you can't be around anyone.
Yeah.
He said, can you do it? I said, yeah, sure. Just say yes. You can do it. You know, I know I can do it. I've not done it before, but I know I can do it. Got up there, and next day they said, they loved you. They want to know when you can come back. Can you do another gig for me at Blackpool? Yeah, sure. Yeah, no problem. They love you as well. They want to know when you can come back. Do another gig for me. And now this is the agent that gets me most of my work now.
No way. So now you've got an actual agent.
So,
are you still doing kids shows?
Still do kids' birthday parties. I'll never stop doing them because they're my first love and favourite and everything else.
That started it as well.
Majority of work is, you know, Haven, Park Dean, independent parks, up and down. You know, in a few weeks' time I'll be at one that's called Granny's Healing Hame.
Right.
It's about 45 minutes from John O'Groats.
Wow.
And then I'll spend the next week zigzagging across Scotland to other parks before I get back home.
Bloody hell.
And I've been down as far as Portsmouth. So I think
all with this one agent.
Yeah, Portsmouth wasn't with that agent, but you know, generally this agent, it cuts a line across sort of Skegness to mid Wales and do everything above there.
Wow.
Or apart from when it do like flyback job like I did Turkey last year. So that was
no way. What were you doing on a plane?
Yeah. For the TUI in Turkey. Yeah. So I go to the airport, catch a plane to Turkey, they pick me up and go to a resort there. I do 45 minutes and they fly me back.
You're kidding.
So go out on a Tuesday, do 45 minutes on a Wednesday night. They've got this, it's a fabulous resort. They've got sort of 7 or 8 pools and spa facilities and outdoor amphitheatre for about 1,000 people. So I do a show there on a Wednesday night and they fly me back on a Thursday.
That's insane. Will that be a regular?
I'm back there again July.
Wow.
July, yeah.
That's awesome.
But it's hot.
It's hot.
And I wear a 3-piece suit when I do my stage shows. My God. So you can wring it out afterwards. I was
hence no makeup because you're literally.
I was backstage. I had a litre of water backstage. And just after the show, the whole litre just went. I've never been so dry from the heat. But you know.
I bet. And that's at night time or not?
Yeah. No, I think that was like a 9 o'clock show, something like that. So but it's just amazing, just a different show, you know. But you got to fit everything into a carry-on. Yeah. Because if they lost my hold luggage, and it was in the hold, I'll be stood there in my speedos going, ta-da! Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. It's a different sort of entertainer. Raise your magic wand, Judy do. Yeah. You don't want to see that. No pockets.
Hedonism in Jamaica, not.
So so it's you got to sort of work out what you can take and but then to fill a show for nearly 1,000 people.
1,000 people.
Yeah. I think it was probably about 800 people, I'd say, when I did it there.
Wow.
Because it wasn't full.
And is that one of the biggest audiences you've done or do?
Some parks have got like a couple of thousand people in.
Wow.
Some of the holiday parks that are big places.
So obviously now the nerves aren't what they would have been 20 years ago.
No.
But you've still got that apprehension perhaps of getting on stage?
It's learning how to channel your nerves. Sometimes you still do get nervous. I mean, before the Turkey gig, I was really nervous because I've just not done that environment before.
Yeah.
You know, and you just don't know, and it's an outdoor stage as well,
yeah.
so the elements can do stuff to you. Gust of wind can blow stuff over, so you're working what props you can do, and I couldn't really chat to the guy before I left the UK, so I had to take some things that just in backup in case other things didn't, no, I've been there, I know what to do.
You know what works,
but it's just channeling your energy, and there's nothing like it than when people are shouting your name and like
it is good, isn't it?
There's a stage in my show where I just go right down to like almost like a whisper quiet, and it's fairly early on in the show, and it's done it to gauge how the audience is,
how responsive they are.
And sometimes you're there with 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people, and you can hear a pin drop, and then inside your head you're going, yes,
I've got them. They're in the palm of my hand.
And then I relax. And sometimes you go to some shows and you can hear the glasses chink and chat, and they're there for a different thing. They're a different thing, which is fine, and they're just like, oh, it's just magic for kids, And it's a family show I do for this. It's not a kid show; it's a family show. But yeah, it's. I think I did a show at a place at was Flamingo Land.
Yeah,
they have a club room. That's one of the big ones. So that's, I don't know if that's maybe a couple of thousand in there, maybe. And my friend happened to be there that day with his family, and he was at the back. He took some great pictures for me, and he said to me after, I said to the wife, I said, has Stu got like a backing track on with people cheering and clapping down the front? You know what I mean? To build the atmosphere like this, because he's a magician as well, and he's just like, has he done that? He said, I'm gonna have to go and check. I have to go and check. And the place was rammed. I mean, we were nearly stacking the kids up like Jenga and everything, because it was so full. It was just the dance floor, all the front rows, any gap between tables was just full with people sat on the floor. All the tables are full everywhere. People were standing by doors everywhere. The place was rammed. And it was great to see after having the COVID times.
Yeah.
And he said, he came in the front and said, no, that's the real audience.
That's genuine.
God damn it. He thought I had a backing track and doing that, but
everyone was just stuck there.
And they were cheering and shouting your name and just like,
that's the best drug in the world, isn't it? When you're on stage, and obviously when playing drums in a band, it's not no one's shouting my name, but people are cheering and clapping, and when it's just like, unless you've experienced it, you can't explain it to somebody, can you? But that rush of
some venues, they can be doing that and you can't hear them, because you've got some venues that have like a really high ceiling, like the Winter Gardens in Blackpool. That's a really high ceiling,
so it just
and the audience can be clapping. It goes up. It doesn't go to the stage. So you're in there thinking there's tumbleweed going across, and you're just
you're dying
on your backside.
But everyone's loving you, really.
It's different. So when you hear it, afterwards you think, how loud must it have been down in there compared to what I'm hearing up now? Because it's not all. A lot of sound goes up rather than going across
towards you.
So it is, it is. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I really love it.
That comes across though, for the response that you're getting, isn't it? Because otherwise, people wouldn't be responding in the way they are if you were just going through the motions. So it must come across to them, because you can tell when I go to see a gig or a play or
someone's
whatever,
just dialing it in,
doing it. It's just not, you can tell we're not idiots, and it'll be the same with you. People can tell it you love what you do, and that just, because then that they feed off, the audience feeds off you, and then you feed off them, and then it just grows and grows and grows, and it just becomes, and then everybody then remembers Stu to do that. Oh, do you remember when we were at so and so kids and the entertainer Stu did there, and they go, oh yeah, he was brilliant when he.
I had someone that was at the Martin Mere, there's a holiday park in Blackpool. There's a haven there. Someone saw me there last summer and they said, are you the same Stu do from Windermere? I said, well, no, I don't live in Windermere, but I've done shows around there, obviously. Oh, yeah, didn't you used to be like... Yeah, I did, I did. I get that quite a lot. And I said, oh, yeah, I thought it was you. Because you did our son's birthday party 17 years ago.
Wow.
And then they went and rattled through all the tricks I did.
No.
And it's such a humbling thing to think of. They remember all that stuff, and that's not just an isolated thing. This happens several times that people remember for many years the exact thing you do. And I've lectured to magicians at conventions, like in the UK and in America, and the thing I say to them is like, this is a really important day for a birthday party, because some people may only have one big birthday party as a child.
Very true.
You don't know people's circumstances. And some people multiple children, so they can't afford to do something big for every child every year. They may only get one party where they have all their class there. And they've saved up and they're going to get this entertainer. You don't dial it in like you just said before. You give absolutely everything to that, because people do remember this stuff. They really do. And it may be your 1 in 200 performances that year, but that could be the one performance they see a live entertainer.
And that's the one that they'll remember. And it will resonate with them. And you must have a similar experience that I've had in the past, where I've been Santa a few times, and you kind of get that.
What do you mean you've been Santa?
If anyone's listening, we're whispering now. I don't know why, but if anyone's
You've been one of his helpers.
I've been one of Santa's helpers. I'm not the real Santa. So when I was one of Santa's helpers, the kids, some kids just look at you in total awe and amazement, don't they? It's like, wow, it's like that in the film Elf, isn't it? It's like that. It's that, wow, it's Santa. And when you do tricks, you must get that similar sort of response from kids going, oh, wow, where's it gone, or what's it done? And it's such a great, because that innocence that they've got, and that belief,
the innocence they have, but also a lot of children don't have. They're very truthful, very honest. That if you went as an adult, you went to see a magic show, and you went with some friends or your other half or whatever, on the way it'd be like, I know how he did that, it was up your sleeve, it was behind his ear or whatever. That's how we did that, like that, Kids in the audience, it's up your sleeve, up your sleeve, and they'll keep repeating that over and over again. There's a lot of entertainers, magicians out there that won't perform for kids because they are so honest with that. But I found it's been made my family shows better. But then again, I also don't perform a show that I want to be seen as, oh, he's amazing, he's a real magician. It's comedy. It's comedy is the first bit.
Isn't it? Like you said, like we've said from the word go, you're a children's entertainer. And it's not just children. You're entertaining the whole family. You're entertaining the adults that are watching as well.
It's like family entertainer now, they class it as, though.
And it's nice because there isn't a lot. It must be great for you when you're at these holiday parks where there's people that are on holiday having proper family time together, when the whole family is all together as a complete unit, all experience something magical in front of their eyes together, so they can all go back, talk about it, and relive it and all the rest of it.
It's a good shared experience and everything as well, and let's say it's live so much of these days, and people were post COVID, people were so grateful of live entertainment. Of seeing it, because we had years of screens, a couple of years of everything on a screen, school, work, all our leisure time, everything was on a screen. It was like, Netflix, or it was Zoom, or it was whatever. I didn't do any virtual magic shows, didn't do any of that at all.
So you just...
I drove a van for Morrison's for 6 months.
Right. You did actually,
I drove a van for Morrison's for 6 months, and then restrictions eased off and we got out to work over Christmas. And then the second lockdown came in again, and it was sort of, do you know what? Tighten the belts. No takeaways, no alcohol, no silly stuff. Just weather the storm.
Because what did you have with the previous guest on? He's a wedding photographer, and he got hit big style with COVID. I'd imagine you would have been, because you'd have had bookings and
it was
were you just, obviously you honoured the ones that wanted to keep them, but obviously some kids' birthdays have gone in the past.
It was sort of, a lot of people sort of I basically said to people, we'll celebrate again. If they wanted refund the deposit, do that.
Yeah.
If they wanted to carry it forward and do that. And some people said, no, just keep the deposit because I know you're struggling as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, just leave it as is.
All right.
Other people wanted the booking afterwards.
Yeah.
So we did that later at a later date when we could allow things. And some people said, oh, any chance you could give my deposit to someone else who wants you instead? So that's fine, okay, fine. Whatever. And we did that as well.
Yeah. So it all worked out.
So it generally worked out. It was just the change of restrictions and even just the different places were weird. I was doing shows in Edinburgh at Seat and Sounds.
Yeah.
And you were in a holiday park. Everybody sat around there. No one wearing a mask.
Yeah.
Because they were drinking.
Yeah.
Because they're eating and drinking, you didn't have to wear a mask.
Yeah.
Sang the show. I was told you're not allowed to encourage them to shout because that could be like passing the thing. But you some things you do and you forget. Oh, I didn't mean to say that. And it's quite well. I wasn't allowed helpers on stage for a while, but doing a show for a room full of people there. Then I come back here. This is people on holiday. Come back here, and I couldn't do a kids' party for 20 children that all go to school together 5 days a week in a village hall.
Crazy, wasn't it? It was crazy times.
But then other schools were booking me over Christmas saying like, we know you're not meant to do this, but if you follow, I said, I'd rewrite the show so there was no helpers at the front because most of my show is focused on empowering the child.
Right.
And like, they're the ones doing the magic.
Yeah.
They're the ones getting the applause.
Yeah.
They're the ones that are amazing.
Yeah.
Like this, it's not me. It's all them.
All the kids.
And it's empowering them and it's making them look good and me bad. I'm not about making kids look bad.
No.
And so rewriting the show that no kids came up the front, it was all the focus on me. It was quite difficult.
Yeah.
And then doing a show where you were so many metres away from everybody as well.
Yeah.
But a couple of schools said, no, we're getting you in on the mental health thing because you doing a show is good for the children's mental health.
Yeah.
They haven't seen this. They've had such a tough time and everything. And as long as we do all the open the doors in between and we stay far apart. I'll do whatever it worked, and it was weird times.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Really weird.
But now we're back to normal, licking each other's faces and everything. Yes, no, not really.
So I'm guessing, right? You'd never really have many hecklers or. Anyone who's not watching this on YouTube, you should have just seen Stuart's expression then. So you do.
Yeah.
Because you'd think, I know you just said about kids being honest and saying it out of the seat, but you can't imagine everyone booing you or anything like that. You don't get anything.
I don't have had booze.
But you just have...
Not that sort of booze anyway, but but no, you...
Is it a different sort of heckling?
You do get people saying stuff, and especially you do certain events where they've been on the alcohol.
Yeah, I was going to say, when you get people...
The alcohol, you can, and they want to try and make it about them, and I'm not trying to say, look at me, I'm really clever and you're not.
No, yeah.
I'm there to entertain.
Yeah.
And it's another form of entertainment. I'm not trying to say, look at me, aren't I clever?
No, yeah.
Let's go on a journey and have fun. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do get some say that, and there's been a couple of situations where I have felt like really worried for personal safety.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just not only literally less than a handful in 20 years.
But nevertheless, you wouldn't think.
Yeah, it's
my God,
worrying. Just the way that just the mood, a couple of people just change, and then somebody says something, it can just throw you off kilter for the rest of your performance the whole time.
Yeah, because then I'd imagine you'd be in the back of your mind thinking, oh my God.
Yeah.
But you're trying to give this front that everything's fine and the kids and. But really, you're thinking in the back of your mind, I'm going to get kicked in a minute.
Yeah.
But thankfully, it never happened. But
no, never has.
I'm guessing
No.
You never rebooked.
No.
But
it's
But I'm guessing as well, it was all alcohol induced.
Yeah, most of the time it is. And I'm the sober one, so I can see it on there, and it's just it's very, very, very rare.
Yeah.
But you get people, 5-year-old's birthday party, and they're all knocking back the drink and everything. Do you want a beer, Stu? Do you do? No. I'm working, and it's your kid's birthday party, and I'll be driving after this as well. It's
great. It's like you see some of the films, like some of the Hollywood films, and they've got the kids entertainers and the half cut.
Yeah.
It's mental, isn't it?
No, just ruin your reputation
wouldn't it?
overnight completely. Yeah, you wouldn't work again. Yeah.
20 years work hard graft.
Yeah.
Would just be down the swan,
Yeah,
wouldn't it?
yeah,
Completely,
totally. Yeah,
completely.
Yeah, and especially with just living so close to Scotland, where the drink drive is just zero. I don't even drink the night before a show.
No. It's not
just
worth it.
keep a clear head and driving is all good. Yeah,
exactly. So you touched earlier that you'd been to America and done some what's the word I'm looking for? You said the word
conventions.
Lecturing, yes.
These
conventions and that. Now I know because we'd spoke not so long ago about you being. Had you been to Vegas and done a convention, or would you been to? Where were you going?
You were asking about San Francisco. That was a while ago. Yeah.
That was pre-COVID.
That was pre-COVID. Yeah. All the visits over there pre-COVID. Yeah. So
and that was I was wow, and you were going to do a.
Yeah, I did. It's not happened again since COVID, but there used to be every January a kids and a family entertainers convention in Los Angeles.
Right.
In the January.
Yeah.
And they do like a sister convention in August in Tennessee.
Right.
August, busy time for us, can't do it. January's a quiet time.
Yeah.
So the first time it was on, a few of my friends went, said how great it was. Said, Stu, you want to come back for the next one? I go, I'll come over. So I went over as a delegate.
To
go and see it. And you're in Los Angeles, but Disneyland's there as well, isn't it? The original Disneyland. So I went to Disneyland, Universal Studios, and I went as delegate. Really enjoyed it. And they said, right, okay. And then the organiser said, I want you to come back next year, but do a lecture for us. I went, okay, because they'd seen I lectured over in the UK, so that's what I did. So I went back the following year and did a lecture at the convention.
And are you kind of preaching to the converted anyway at this point?
Yeah, they're all family entertainers there, but you're sort of teaching them. You're not trying to teach your granny to suck eggs, but you're just sort of trying to. I mean, I don't see myself as an expert or anything like that. There's loads of people out there a lot higher than me, but just my little ways to do things has made me work and it's provided me an income for nearly 20 years. Yeah.
So you're obviously doing something right.
Do something right but doing something wrong, But it's and there's been a few like magical effects I've invented and stuff. So you can sell that after your convention. I've sold them to magicians and stuff in the past. Right. So it's just sort of just telling my way of doing things. And I think what did I call it? The lecture was called I did a couple of lectures. One lecture was called Studi Do's and Studi Don'ts. Another one's called How I Do It with a DOO, like that. There's lots of plays on the words like that. So I've done a couple of different styles of lectures, and it was just sort of saying, and the British way of entertaining is completely different to the American.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But you had people over there from Mexico, from all around Europe. There's Italy, there's Canadians, there's Americans. Wow. There's just a global thing over there. Yeah. And I think the second time I went over, did the lecture, I then went to Vegas for a couple of days afterwards. Yeah. And saw David Copperfield and got to meet him afterwards and all that sort of stuff and everything. Yeah, and just it's amazing. Yeah.
And was that like wow, or was he not what you kind of? Cause sometimes they say, don't ever meet your idols because they're not. Yeah,
well, it was just merely just a brief meet because I went to he does 2 shows a day. Yeah. And I went. What did I say? I pre-booked my tickets before I went, and the front row seats were something like what were they? They were like nearly £300, I think, at the time. And I thought second row seats were £75. Second row for me, is it? Because with magic, you don't want to be right up the front as well. Anyway. Yeah. And Las Vegas very much is a convention city. Yes. So people are there conventions all the whole time. They just go for So I booked tickets and I got there a bit early for the show. And he does 2 shows a day in his own theatre in the MGM Grand. Yeah. And so it was an extra $150 for a meet and greet as well. I went, I won't bother with that. I'll leave that. I won't bother with that. Yeah. So I'm sat there waiting for the show, and this woman comes over and she says, "Oh, excuse me." And I said, "Are you a magician?" I went, yes, sort of, but back in England, the UK. She went, oh, right, okay. Because sometimes magicians don't like other magicians seeing their act.
Do they not?
It's like comedians seeing other comedians. They're worried about stealing their jokes or whatever like that. And it's if I see another magician in the audience, it throws me because I'm like, oh no, they're really going to judge me. But I said, yeah, just don't worry about it. Just play that. She said, what's your performance name? I said, oh, Judy Do. And she said, oh, I thought so. And then walked off.
What?
I went, that was the most surreal thing ever. I thought
so.
Just, whatever. She comes back 5-10 minutes later, because they're really early for the show. She said, I'm actually David's PA. I've told him you're in the audience tonight, and he wants to know if you're free afterwards. Do you want to come backstage and meet him?
That's insane.
And I went, yeah, I'm free. Yeah. So just got to meet him and everything like that.
So he
backstage.
knew of you.
So I don't know if he knew of me or whether she knew it from my email address or whatever. I had no idea, whatever. But it was
a
the
good
days
drag,
after the convention.
Yeah.
So I got done the convention for 3-4 days.
Yeah.
And then I'd gone there. So I don't know whether there'd been
someone from there, maybe,
or whether just when they publicised the convention, my name was on the programme as someone lecturing it. Just whatever. Anyway, I got to meet him for didn't cost me $150.
Yeah, exactly.
So awesome. So got to meet him briefly. The show's amazing.
Is it?
Oh, it's phenomenal.
So are you? You know, when you go to something like that, are you watching it like how we would watch it and just enjoying it?
I sort of want to, yeah.
Or are you picking it apart and thinking, he's doing this, he's doing that?
I don't. The best part for me when I see a show is when you just swept away and you enjoy it, and I'm back to being 8 years old again, and I'm watching, sat there in the front in the living room, watching Paul Daniels on telly, and it's like, wow. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm there starting to pick stuff apart, I'm not.
You're not enjoying it.
I'm not enjoying it. I usually try to get to be that kid and enjoy the show, and then later on I can think about, do you know what? And there was a couple, not the same trick, but there's a couple of principles that David used that I use in my show, and it was sort of like, right, I can see how that reflects in what I do. I'm doing the same thing in my show, and he's just doing it in Vegas.
Scale. Yeah.
And he's using such a basic thing, but it's fooling all these people that I think wouldn't fool. You know, it just
fool a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love seeing magic shows and everything, and I'd prefer not to,
because I think a lot of magic shows, it's an all out. I don't want to use the word entertainment again, but it's an all out kind of just a big massive show, isn't it? You know, without oversimplifying it. You know, everything's exaggerated and made to be grand, and that's part of the hook to hook you in, isn't it?
I think the thing is, if you watch, even if it's just someone doing a card trick or someone doing a massive stage show, if you watch magic and you want to try and work out how they did it, one of two things is going to happen. One is you're not going to work it out, and you're going to be so annoyed with yourself and frustrated. Or two, you're going to work it out and be so annoyed with yourself that it was something so simple and you've ruined it. If you forget those things and just try to enjoy it as an entertainment, as a spectacle of itself, then that's where the joy is from. Because you know, if we could do real magic, you know, I'd be on a beach somewhere with a large cocktail, you know, and just put them doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's all about. It's entertainment. It's just a different form. It's
a form of entertainment.
Yeah, I can't sing. I can't play the drums. I can't. You know, I can't. I used to dance. I can't dance. That's another story. I used to be a dancer. yeah. But you know what I mean? It's sort of like, this is my channel of entertainment that I'm providing for you, because it just, there's other things that I can't do. So if you don't just watch, you know, Taylor Swift, go, I wonder how she actually creates that note in her voice to make her sing that song.
I wonder if other singers do though. You know, because I'll when I'm listening to a song, I'll be listening to the drums and I'll be knowing. I suppose that's different though, because I'll be knowing what they're hitting and what's coming next, and you can kind of preempt what they're going to do with the film, what have you. And I suppose you would, to a certain degree, know what's coming next, perhaps.
Yes, sometimes you do. Sometimes it throws you. It is, you know, it's just sometimes, you know, when I worked at Cadbury World, I did shows with two main other acts I worked with, two of my best friends in the business. and one of the guys is a ventriloquist, and I must have seen his show over hundreds of times now, and he does the same show, and he works on Disney cruise ships now, and he's been doing stuff for them, and he's been doing his shows for donkey's years, and I could be at the other side of the wall of the marquee and hear him. And if you walk past me, you'd see my shoulders doing that, because I'd be, even just hearing his show without seeing it, I'd still be laughing.
Yeah.
It just the
entertainment.
It gets it, yeah. When it's good, it's good.
Yeah.
You know, and you could, I can watch the good stuff over and over again. Like you can hear a really good song over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, but it's difficult that sometimes, you know, you practice something like my opening routine. I've done for 15 years, but it's me now. It's a muscle memory in my hands.
Yes.
That I can now focus on the audience without looking at my hands the whole time. You know,
it's a bit like a guitarist, like
yeah,
looking at the fingers on the guitar, you know, to play the chords, and then over time they'll know exactly where the chords are.
Yeah, like
next time
Slash doing "Sweet Child of Mine." You know what I mean?
Can you imagine Slash doing that?
He could do it while he's wearing Coronation Street, couldn't he? You know, like, he wouldn't have to, like,
exactly. Because it's the same sort of thing.
There's some bit that you can see some stuff, but try and work it out. But I just want to enjoy it. Enjoy it as a spectacle. Like it's like you want to enjoy a band. If they're good, you want to enjoy them. Anything.
And that's it. If I am enjoying it, when I go to a gig, I'm not. Primarily, I usually do, depending on what the band is, who the band is. I'm kind of 9 times out of 10 looking at the drummer, watching the drummer, but I'm also enjoying, the rest of the
But then
band.
if you're not enjoying it, that's when you start to pick it apart and try to work it out.
Yeah. But
so
it's very, very rare that it happens at a live gig. Usually when I'm sort of just not doing much, at home and all, making coleslaw for the day or listening to some music. Then that's when that'll happen. It's like, oh, so that's how they did that, and things like that. But getting back to magic then, which is one of the main reasons for having you on. So obviously you've lectured on your style and how you entertain and that. Have you delved deep into like the history of magic as you've got into it more, or what? Or because
I'm not an expert on the history of it at all. No, really. I mean, but there's things like there's hieroglyphs of the cups and balls inside the pyramids.
Is there?
Yeah. So it's seen as, it's one of the oldest. It's not, the oldest occupation in the world. We all know what that is, don't we? But it could be the second oldest.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a hieroglyph of cups and balls, inside the Great Pyramids.
I never knew that.
So it does go back an awfully long way.
It goes back way beyond Houdini.
Yeah.
Because obviously we talked about it being a golden age in the sort of 70s and 80s television.
Yeah.
But I think vaudeville mass. That was when it kind of really came to the masses, I reckon.
Yeah.
Obviously Houdini was the.
Well, yeah, it's like Houdini. I was lucky. Went to New York for my birthday last year.
Yeah.
Because I was 40-10 last year. So So went to, and unfortunately Houdini's house is in the Bronx.
Right.
And it's a private house now. There's no museum, nothing at all. So you'd walk up, see the gate, and then walk away again. So someone lives there, so it isn't a tourist thing. But there was the pub that used to drink in. It's one of the oldest pubs in New York.
I bet it is, yeah.
And they have a pair of his handcuffed up on one of the top pipes up on the top. That used to sit there and drink. So I said, we've got to go there. We've got to go. They've got to go there. We sat around there looking around for them. Where are they? I don't want to ask. Where are they? And like this, and then got the guy from behind the bar, and it's like, they're up there. They're up there. They're not down there because otherwise someone will try and pinch them. But they're up there, up by the. Oh wow! It's like being at close proximity, and.
So was he, as you got into it more, has he become? Idol's probably the wrong sort of word, but has he been your hero-ish, so to speak? Like
he was originally known as King of Cards.
Right.
That was his thing.
Yeah.
And then he discovered the escapology.
Right.
All the time stuff, chain stuff, straight jacks, and all that sort of stuff. But I think his real mastery was the marketing. The way that he just got the crowds to be there, the newspapers to be there, the publicising what he was doing. He was phenomenal at that.
Yeah, because I suppose you've just hit the nail. He wasn't a magician per se, was he? He was an escapologist.
He was an escapologist. That was his Latin, but originally he was known as Houdini, King of Cards.
Yeah.
That was on his showboard, bills and posters and everything.
Yeah.
That was his original tagline.
Right.
And then he got into the escapology.
Yeah.
And I don't know where that transferred into that. And then, like I say, he was just, not gone past a big anniversary of his passing, because I know he passed on Halloween.
Was it not?
He passed on Halloween.
Years ago.
Yeah. But he died from...
was it not his appendix or something?
Yeah, well, he used to have this thing where he could tense his stomach muscles, and he would challenge anyone to punch him as hard as they could in the belly, and he could, take it.
Yeah.
And he'd be complaining of like a sore pain down here for a day or two, and then 2 students went to visit him backstage after the show, and one gave him the punch but caught him off guard. He hadn't a chance to tense up.
Yeah.
And they think that sort of ruptured his appendix, and that's what he sort of died from, like a couple of days later. He didn't see a doctor, and was on his train to his next thing, and then, and that was it. Right. After all those stunts that he did.
Yeah. I'm guessing, I don't know, but was he the first one to kind of do these underwater escapology stunts?
First of all, honestly, I don't know the history of it.
Right.
But first to get on such a big scale that everybody knew. There were other magicians around then.
Yeah, like you say,
and before him.
It was his marketing that was.
But he was the one to get them on. He was just known globally.
Yeah, well, he was. I mean, we're talking about him now, probably 100 years after.
Yeah.
And it was still. Yeah,
it's. And there's I know at the Magic Circle in London there's a museum there as well. I've been once before, but I look forward to going there again soon, because I need to arrange to get presented with my certificate of being a member.
Excellent.
So hopefully the president's going to.
I know we can only talk about certain things because it'll be almost like the official secret acts for magicians. But how is? Do you have to get nominated? Do you apply? Or do you have to have so many years service?
I wanted to be in the Magic Circle for years and years. And it was just a thing, but it's based in London. Yeah. I'm up here. Yeah. And it's a long way to go down. They meet on Mondays. Right. And it's a long way to go for that. And then with COVID, everything's gone online. Yeah. They're streaming their meetings and their lectures and everything online. They have a huge video library on there. Yeah. And it just becomes more of an attractive thing. So they were doing a bit of a recruitment drive I go to the world's biggest magic convention every February. Yeah. It's in Blackpool. Right. It's nice and handy for us.
No way.
Yeah. So there's about like 5,000 magicians come there every year for the weekend. It's
That's a big coup for the country, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been running a long time, and it's phenomenal. You get everyone from hobbyists to Vegas headliners, everyone in between. But they had a stand there, they had a bit of drive. So I'll say, right, you need someone to nominate, you need a second. Several people in the circle. So could you nominate? Could I put you down as a nominee and you does? Yeah, fine. So they do that. Then you have to either go down to the circle and do an audition. Yeah. Or you have to do an audition via Zoom. Right. Yeah. Or you have to film your act. And obviously my style of act that I do all the time, it's more applicable for me to film my act, but it's very strict on how your act's got to be. Really? It's got to be between 8 minutes and 12 minutes. Right. So 8 minutes to 12 minutes. It's got to be off a static camera, no zooming, no panning away. You've got to be in shot the whole time. Right. It's be a live audience. No cuts. Right. No nothing at all. It's got to be So you can't just do your 45-minute show and cut the best bits in. Yeah. So it's got to be that. So I was trying to work out how to do it and everything, and then a lot of places I can't film. They just don't like you filming. Yeah. So I managed to get some
children.
Yeah. So. But I worked out which routines I could do without having people on stage. Yeah. Still have a static camera on there and did it, and then you have to submit it, and then they pass it round the committee. Right. They all have to watch it. Yeah. And then they vote on you, and then you get told yay or nay. And all right. Yeah. So I got the yes, and
excellent.
Yeah, and got the phone call, and I've got my card, but you get like a certificate and everything. And
is this a lifetime thing now? You're in.
Well, you've got to pay your subs every year, but that's me.
That's it. Once you're in, you're in. That's fantastic.
It's good enough for King Charles. It's because he did his audition.
No way.
Way back when. I'm not sure when it was. I did see pictures. I think he did the Cups and Balls.
Right. Yeah. So what's the history of the Magic Circle? Is it peculiarly British, or is there chapters all over the world?
Well, there's different societies around the world.
Yeah.
So you have the Magic Circle in London.
Yeah.
Which is seen as like the
home of magic. Is that the Holy Grail? Is that the oldest one?
I don't know if it's the oldest one or not. I'd have to check that. But it's definitely seen. For me personally, I would say that's the main one.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Magic Circle, and you have lots of provincial clubs.
Yeah.
So there was a magic club in Carlisle.
Oh, is there?
So that any local people, there was a magic club in Carlisle.
Yeah.
I don't get the chance to go as much as I used to, but yeah, they meet once on a Tuesday every month.
Is it?
Once a month they meet on Tuesday.
Oh, well,
Houghton Village Hall.
If you send me the link, I'll put that on the link to this. And we can, put it
Lovely
in the
group of people there. Yeah, so they meet then. I used to be the secretary of the Darlington Magic Circle. They meet every other week.
Yeah.
There's ones in Newcastle. There's ones at Glasgow,
So
Edinburgh.
sort of big
lots of places have them.
cities,
Blackpool Magic Circle. Lots of places have them. Provincial ones. But the main Magic Circle is the London one. That's the main one. They're not linked with the individual ones. They're like small clubs just for a town.
Right. Yeah.
Barrow Society Magicians is one of the oldest ones in the country.
Is it?
Yeah, down in Barrow. That's got a very, very long history, that one has.
Wow.
Yeah. The Carlisle one used to run many years ago, then was disbanded, and it was started up about, must have been about 10 years ago, I think it was. It started up again. So, yeah. But yeah, they're lovely, like I say, lovely bunch there.
Any kind of, because I'd imagine magic would cover such a vast umbrella of
you've got like kids magic, escapology, you've got like illusions, like the big toys. You've got close-up card magic or rope magic, coin magic. You've got what else you got there? Oh, bizarre magic, when you get into like the dark arts sort of type thing. This is just so many. The mind reading, that's another seen as another one there. Huge amounts. But then internationally, you've got like the Society of American Magicians, SAMS, that's over there, and you've got the Academy of Magical Arts. Right. That's in Los Angeles. That's amazing. They've got a place called the Magic Castle. Right. They would. In Hollywood. Yeah. I've been 3 times there now. I'd love to perform there. They do like a weekend family brunch show, which I think my show would be perfect for. But anyway, one day I'll get there. But you go in there and you have to be either signed in by a member or be a member of a, like say the Magic Circle. I could get in there now. Or be a member there, or be signed in by someone who is a member. So I've been signed in by other members in the past. And you sort of, once you're signed in, you walk up to a bookcase. You say "Open Sesame," the bookcase slides away, and then you go in.
Oh wow!
And they have like different theatres in there, and they have like a bar where there's somebody doing close-up magic in there. They have the parlour of prestidigitation. They have the, I can't remember what the bits are called. There's just loads of quirky things around the whole room, stuff like that. That things on the wall move when you go past, and stuff like that, and everything.
Harry Potter, but on speed.
Oh yeah. It's a phenomenal place. I really, and you can go there for a meal. I love the place. I really do. You get a lot of the Hollywood A-listers go there and stuff there and everything. Right, So I've had friends who've performed there, and they've said, we've had so and so was
star spotting.
So like Matt Damon was in watching them that night, and so was in the watching there. Dick Van Dyke was in there one night, and all these different people are in there. Excellent. But yeah, you can't have use your phone inside. No. So no photos. There's no photos, no videos, nothing like that.
Which is how it should be.
Yeah.
Because the amount of gigs you go to now, and it's
you see that music gigs, like that.
It's like, and you're never going to watch it when you get home. Just enjoy it for what it is.
I know.
Right in front of you.
I went to see Guns N' Roses a couple of years ago in London.
Yeah.
And last year again in Glasgow.
Yeah, we were there then.
Yeah, and I've wanted to see them since I was 15. This is Monsters Rock at Donington, and my dad wouldn't let me go to that. Right. And then they played a Milton Keynes Bowl, wouldn't let me go to that. I was too young, blah, blah, and everything. And my friends went, I didn't go.
Went to both of those, not to piss you off.
You can go off people, But yeah, I was
Well, I was slightly older than you.
massive in there. I was hooked with the Lies album even before Appetite came out.
Right.
I was hooked with them. Yeah, massively.
So I'm guessing on Stu's top 10 list on the Spotify playlist that we've got, there's going to be some Guns N' Roses on it, isn't there?
Yeah, there is, and the big Guns N' Roses fans will hate the one I've chosen as well. So
which one?
It's Sweet Child of Mine, which is. I
mean, it is quintessentially Guns N' Roses, though, isn't it?
You go onto any of the forums when they're talking about the concerts.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, these players play that one." It's like, yeah, but for me, it just hearing it, and I know it's the most commercialised one. Track they've had, but for me, that just transports me all the way back to
86, 87.
Yeah, so I mean, 86, I was 13 years old, 14 years old, hearing that for the the time.
Yeah,
and it just,
then watching it on MTV if you had MTV.
Yeah, yeah, we did have it. Yeah, it was, and I'd those in that age, I was a very difficult child at that age. My mum was killed in a car crash when I was 10 years old, and I was like having to bring up my brother and sister and everything like that. And it was just like music. That G&R was a massive escape for me. At that age. And so but I went to the concert, and I just I want to record this bit. And this bit's going to record this bit.
Yeah.
I'm not recording the whole song. I'm going to do 30 seconds of that song.
Yeah.
The phone's going away because my eyes want to be watching it. I'm not going to watch it through a screen. And I've never watched those clips back again.
I've got. But I mean, I'm as much. I'll admit it. I've done it, and I still do it because you think, oh, I love this bit, but then I've got a phone full of stuff.
Yeah.
That I never watch.
Yeah.
Because.
It's in my memory card up here.
It's exactly.
And that's the best memory card to have.
And I watch it and listen to it in there a lot, but not on my phone.
Yeah.
But you watch. You see so many memes nowadays of things, don't you? And there's like, there's one of, I think it's of the original Woodstock, so it's like 68, 69. Everyone, like 500,000 people or whatever it was, and they were all just watching it and loving it. And then they showed like, I don't know, like an Adele concert or something, or a Taylor Swift concert, and it was just like a million bloody mobile phones up in the air, and no one actually physically watching it. And it's like, the difference is insane, isn't it? Because I bet you all those people that were at Woodstock can totally remember everything about it. Yeah. Whereas
I get kids recording me on Snapchat or TikTok and everything at my shows now. And they're like, you're like 10, 12 years old. And they're like, what are your video? Oh, TikTok. I'm here, You can't just pause. This is live.
Exactly.
It's not. I'm not coming through a screen right now. Just enjoy that. But yeah, it's a different world. I think it's
just, and it is the way it's going, isn't it? I think we're the only ones. Our generation and a few years older, younger than us, are the last ones.
Yeah,
that can remember life before that little.
Well, it's like saying the Gen X's. We can remember TVs that didn't have a remote control.
Yeah.
So you had to walk to the telly to turn it over. Yeah. You didn't, but. And it's same with the phones. I was going to mention this earlier, but when I worked at the Stock Exchange, I remember getting a letter from T-Mobile, which is the precursor to... No, T-Mobile is now 1-to-1. Yeah. It's before T-Mobile. Letter from them and saying, bringing out a new service called Short Messaging Service, or SMS for short. It's going to cost you an extra £1 a month to have this on your account, and every message is going to cost you 10 pence or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And I remember looking, who's going to type in when you can just ring them up and say it? What sort of an idiot is going to tap buttons to make a message when you can just speak to them instead? Look at now, how wrong was I? How wrong was I to say? I wish I still had that letter. I can still sort of when it first came out, thinking then obviously you had to press the number 1 3 times to get the letter C, and then twice to get but and then when predictive text came out, that was quicker.
Even worse.
Yeah, because it's weird things, but yeah, it was just that was changing there for us
back then.
Yeah,
back then.
Whereas now it's everyone has if you have talk on the phone, you have to talk like this.
Yeah.
They don't talk like this. No, it's like, oh, thank you. I wanted to hear both sides of your conversation as you're walking through Tesco, Morrison's or whatever.
It's true, isn't it? And it's funny, I always think, because a lot of people, they have an earpiece in and they'll just be chatting away on the phone, and it was like I always look at them. I think 30, 40 years ago when I was a kid, you'd have seen someone walking around like the street chatting to themselves like that.
You're like, cross the road to avoid them.
Yeah. And now it's just like the norm, innit? People are just constantly just looking about, chatting away, and you know they're on the phone. The phone's probably just in the pocket, but it's crazy. The world we're living in. So your magic, what sort of style of magics do you do on your show? Because you said you haven't really changed your have you changed your show much over 15 years, or just not your intro?
Yeah, there's bits that change, and there's bits that don't, and bits that you think you haven't changed.
Yeah.
But then you look back and wow, that has really changed. It's the same essence of the trick, but you've added lines in, you've taken lines out, and you've changed a move. Or
and I suppose
like
as well, over the time, certain things wouldn't resonate.
Yes, some jokes are dated that you wouldn't do now, and they wouldn't work. And there's obviously some sort of. Sometimes I do jokes which have like a pop culture reference, something that's happening now or most recent, and it just wouldn't work now because they're like, "What's he talking about?" That was like, ages ago.
6 months ago.
Yeah, a dinosaur. You know. But the one of these with that opening trick when we emerging out of COVID and starting to do some live shows again, and it was after the second lockdown, so I'd not touched my props for 5 months, nothing at all.
Wow.
And so I got everything out, laid it out, and I was like, right, okay, there's everything there. Now what do I say? What do I say? And I was just looking at everything. What do I? And it just really threw me. So I picked up the cards from my opening trick. I was like, what do I say? And then I looked down. My hands were doing the moves.
Right.
So my hands remembered before my brain did.
Yeah.
And then you start doing it a couple of times. Oh yeah, say this bit when this bit happens. Oh, I say this when this happens. And then if the first couple of shows are a bit ropey and you're missing. Oh, I missed that line, but. Did I really need to say that? It doesn't really count anymore. I've just got a habit of saying it. Let's think of something better. Yeah.
That's good, isn't it? How it just flows organically and just naturally.
And it was so bizarre that time, just looking down my hands, and my hands remembered what to do, the little secret moves and everything, before my brain did.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
That's your subconscious though, isn't it? That's your subconscious in action. Yeah. It's kind of like really...
Yeah, or fantastic. Even like I do things like some of the routines involve puppets and he's not been in the show for a while, but there's a monkey puppet called Chico, and he just whispers in me. He doesn't talk. He doesn't know ventriloquism. He whispers in me. And I'll come home and I'll be like, you won't believe what Chico said to me today. Oh, it was hilarious. Like, you do realise he's not real.
Love it.
Normally when I talk about, the hand goes like that automatically when I start talking about puppets. It's like, put it down. It's like...
But that's it, because you do it so often. It'll just be so automatic. Certain things will just... Yeah,
but still self-conscious the first time I used a puppet. And just like, this is weird. What am I doing? I've got a teddy bear on my hand and I'm pretending it's alive. No one's going to believe this. Yeah. You know, and just, and now the kids like the puppets far more than like me, you know, it's you know, one of the favourite bits of my stage show is when I use a small stick puppet about this big in my stage show, and he bursts into song at one point, and then he turns around and he wants to kiss me, and it brings the house down every time.
You're singing on this?
No, it's a backing track.
Oh, right. Is it?
I can't sing, I told you that.
Yeah, but I thought you might have got away with some laugh singing.
No. That would about clear the room if I did that.
So there's a lot of technical kind of stuff as well as the magical stuff that you're doing as well then.
Yeah, there's like the sound effects, and I have like remote controls for music and
your
microphone
got, like, foot
and everything.
Pedals and that.
No, I have like remote controls in the pocket here.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always used sound effects since not long after I started, and I remember seeing a lecture at a convention about this guy, and he did this show and he used some sound effects to boost it, and it just and then he said, I'm going to show you do the same routine now but without the sound effects. And I went, oh wow, that was like that's changed. It's gone from here to here. It's elevated the performance. So I went back and bought some sound effects CDs and tapes you get back in the day, and I mean, I used to do whatever. I used to play first PA system had a cassette deck.
Yeah.
Kids, you don't know what this is. Had a cassette deck on it, and I used to play musical statues. And instead of running back to press pause every time and just unpausing it to go there, I recorded a cassette deck with the gaps in it.
Right.
So I knew when the statue bit was going to come up.
yeah.
I knew how long I had to say.
Yeah.
Right, here's, I never had elimination games. So no one was ever out in the game.
No.
I picked someone who's the best statue or the best dancer.
Yeah.
So no one was ever out.
Yeah.
So give them their prize, and then it would start automatically again without me going anywhere near the PA system. So that was like, oh, how is he doing this without pressing the buttons? And then I got, sorry, you said it would happen, didn't you? And then next stage I got like bought a DVD player.
Yeah.
DVD player. Plugged in the PA system. Because it came with a remote control, there's this big
Where am I going to put that?
play, pause and that. And then I found Sony brought out their first MP3 player.
Right.
It was called a Walkman, but it was MP3.
Yeah,
it was about the size of a matchbox.
Yeah.
And it had a corner cut off the edge, and that's where your play pause button was.
Right. So
I set up every music track to have like a 1 second delay after the press play.
Right.
And I've had weird outfits over the years.
Yeah.
Like really colourful spotty jackets and everything. A spotty waistcoat on this time. And I put the MP3 player in my pocket there, and it was connected to a mic belt pack.
Yeah.
And another mic belt pack for my mic.
Yeah.
And they both went UHF to the PA system.
Yeah.
So it's completely wire free.
Before YouTube.
Yeah.
Not YouTube, Bluetooth.
Yeah. But so I would put my hands down, and I knew where the button was in my pocket.
Yeah.
But both hands down, the right hand would tap the play pause button. I lift the hands up, click my fingers, and then as I opened my hands and showed them empty, the music would start.
Awesome.
And yeah, kids weren't bothered, mums weren't bothered, but the dads were like, "How's he doing that? How they? It just started. He had nothing in his hands. How's it?" The dads were like that bit. The kids and the mums weren't bothered, but the dads were like, "How's this? Is some electric wizardry going on here?" But yeah, just had this. So that was before remote controls. Then after that, you got some Bluetooth remote controls, which some were reliable, some weren't.
Yeah,
You'd have like on bigger stages, where Bluetooth would go to sleep if you didn't press a button every now and again.
Oh God.
And if you went more than so many meters, it would drop.
Yeah.
Now, basically, my remote control costs me. It's remote control, size of matchbox again.
Yeah.
It's just under £1,000.
Oof.
For the kit, it's I think about 800 quid with everything. Yeah. So,
but it's gonna work.
But I press it and it works every time.
Yeah, that's what you want.
It's rock solid.
Yeah,
it's not something that I have to press and then look at the iPad to make sure it's gone green, that it's working or whatever like that. I can come out and on stage and mid-routine I can just press that in my pocket. And I know where the button is.
Yeah.
And no one sees me press it, and I know it works.
Do you have like an entrance music or an introduction?
Stage shows I sort of. They'll introduce me, and then I'll come out to my music, and I'll have an opening routine music I come out to, and I sort of talk over it. And it's all the opening trick's done all to music
and it's out
and everything.
On remote as well.
And it's on to remote, and if I want to finish it early, I can just press on it and it'll go there, and I can do volume and skip tracks forward and back and everything as well on there if I wanted to change things on the fly. But generally, it's your play and
just go with
stop.
it.
And it's I know where I am, and it's. It just music in my shows.
I think music, like you said, the music and the sound effects, maybe and the lighting, the smoke, it all just adds.
Yeah,
to it,
it's just little things like when the puppet wants to come out the box.
Yeah.
Well, this year I'll tap like a knocking noise.
Yeah.
So there's like a door knock, like knock, 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 knock. And I was like, 1 second, sorry about this. Open the case. What do you want now?
Yeah.
That's when he wants to get out. Whereas you could stamp your foot or whatever, or just. Did you hear that, boys and girls? There's someone. No.
Yeah.
The
technology
noise.
has helped you.
Yeah.
Massively.
Yeah.
It gives a real polished, professional edge to it's already polished and professional.
Yeah, I've embraced technology as much as I can with it.
I think you should as well.
And I do invest heavily in tech, like I say, £800 remote control, and my headset mic. I think just the headset bit, not the belt pack. That's £700.
Yeah.
And then the belt pack, that's another £500. They all add up, but I make sure my headset mic's the same one they use in the West End shows.
I was going to say it'll be the same one that they use on Taylor Swift.
And
probably uses.
The sound is just
perfect. Yeah.
Crystal clear sound.
Yeah.
No feedback.
Yeah.
No hiss noise. I know it's reliable.
Yeah.
It's nice skin flesh tone.
Yeah.
So at a distance you can't really see it's there and everything as well. And it's
So it's one of those ones that fits right against your cheek.
Yeah, it's just off my cheek
Is
actually.
it?
Yeah, because I just find with the beard it bristles on it.
A bit. Yeah.
So you've got to keep it away from there. But I use that same. I have two. I've used one for my kids' parties and for the stage shows. So the kids are getting the same tech.
Yeah.
For like little Tommy's 5th birthday party in the village hall, they're getting the same tech that I use for 2,000 people.
Yeah.
Because I know it works, and if that sounds good, and the lights are on, and if it sounds good, then the nonsense is just up to me. I can relax.
Yes.
I can do the. I don't have to think like, is that mic going to cut out? Is that music going to work? Is that you can just get into your persona,
and just relax.
And even just things like with my shows, I thought, starting out, kids entertainer, you've got to be wearing a zany outfit, all colourful, and I had some weird outfits back when I started out. I think I bought it's like a white, like a lab coat.
Right.
I think I bought it from what's the guy that's that farm? No, it's a farmer's place near Yanworth School.
Oh, Ralph's.
They're Ralph's. I bought it from there. It's like a farmer's, when they're showing the animals.
Oh yeah.
Bought one of them, dyed it bright yellow. Right. So got one of the ex-wife's friends. Wasn't ex-wife time, but anyway, to sew on some big buttons and patches on and everything. And I went out there, got some trousers, rolled them up a bit, stripy socks, and all this sort of stuff.
So it was a bit like Mr. Bubbles or
Mr. Tumble,
Mr. Tumble.
I thought that zany sort of look was the thing to go for.
Yeah.
Then one time I had to go and something broke in between the shows and I needed some duct tape or something to fix it, or insulation tape. Had to stop at B&Q. And of course it was the day there was 30 people in the queue. And about half the people in the queue I knew. So right, Stu, right? And I'm there in this outfit. Right, stop here. And I said, what are you on about? I'm working. Well, that's your normal clothes. And I was just getting the banter all the time. And then, so I changed my outfit a bit, and I had black trousers, black polo shirt, and a spotty waistcoat. Again, thinking to be loud and be that, like I say, Mr. Tumble clowny character. And then, must be about 5 or 6 years ago, I changed it to going like pinstripe. Just I had a black pinstripe suit made. A fabulous suit maker, doesn't do anymore, but suit made that, all my waistcoats done that. So it's like it's black trousers, black shirt, purple tie, Cadbury's. Yeah. And then like a black pinstripe waistcoat. And it's just, and it was just like a light bulb went for me that if you dress like a clown, then act like a clown.
Yes.
It's funny.
Yeah.
But if you dress smart,
yeah,
and then something happens to you like a clown, like you fall over or something silly happens to you, it's doubly funny.
Yeah.
You know, Charlie Chaplin, he was a clown.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he had the suit on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Bean,
Yeah.
he was a clown,
Yeah.
but he was wearing normal clothes.
Yeah.
And when something,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
funnier.
Yeah, yeah.
And so when I do my stage shows, I wear, like I say, a three-piece suit now with a shirt and tie and everything, you know, and even a pocket watch and everything, the whole thing.
Yeah.
To do it.
So you don't have to dress up like a clown particularly, do you?
That could be someone else's persona. That's nothing wrong with that at all. But it would just work for me. And then when I found that, I was like, oh, that's another little thing that found my little.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'd imagine with you, I mean, even me, even though I've been doing spuds for nearly 30 years, sometimes I'll do something, I'll think, oh my God, why didn't I do that years ago? And it'd be the same with you, won't it? It'd be like, oh, I should have done that. Yeah. Why have I been struggling doing this when I could just done that? And it's like,
well, the things that occur to you, the weirdest things, like since COVID, I do a lot of running.
Yeah.
And just being out doing a long run one day, and I've been working on a trick for a couple of years, like all custom, all just mine. So it's not like something you bought, and I was struggling with the one part of it that I just needed to work in a certain way, and I couldn't think of a way to do it. And then it just clicked me out on a run because mine had gone blank, and it came to me. Yeah. I was like, yes, that's it. Who was looking at me? You know, it was this crazy man just saying stuff out. But I've been working on that for 2 or 3 years, And it was just the final little things that that makes, and it means I can do the magical move.
Yeah.
It's also I'm trying to think of the word now. It's logical.
Yeah.
And it fits in with the rest of the storyline of that routine that I'm doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's not sort of like, oh, we're telling this part of the story. Oh, I just have to go up to this box here to do nothing whatsoever and then come back in again because you're hiding this secret move. No, everything's logical and it works.
So when you're kind of creating new tricks, are you sort of taking bits from an existing one? You think, oh, if I take one from that one and a bit from there, that could make this. Or you're just completely thinking, actually, I want to be able to do this. How am I going to do it?
It's sometimes it could be you looking at the beginning and the end and how do I get from A to B.
Yeah.
Other times you've already got the middle bits worked out. You know something, but you want something to be a big finish, or where do I start from? It really just depends. Or sometimes it's mashing different things together that already exist really well.
Because it is like it's almost like a sketch show, isn't it? You know, each performance of your show is. Yeah. I mean, I've never seen one of your shows, but I'm guessing does it flow as a whole, or is it, like I just said, a sketch show of totally different?
Well, there's different bits within it.
Yeah.
I think how I am now with my show, that go round, it flows from one bit to another. But it's not seen as an abrupt stop and start throughout. No. But they're not intrinsically linked together. Yeah, yeah. I could swap some bits and pieces out. I mean, when you look at some new routines, there's certain things that various principles that will work, sort of like, it's very much said there's a look don't see sort of thing. That sort of like something goes wrong and you don't see it, but all the kids are seeing it shining. Oh, what are you on about? What about? And it's a standard thing. Or there's it's called magician in trouble.
Right.
So when things are going wrong for you, the kids find that hilarious. Find it hilarious because you're meant to be a sensible grown-up and it's all going wrong for you. Or
it really kind of.
If you're expecting something big to appear and then something small appears, it's just thrown you at the end, or something small to appear and something big appears. If you're going to say you're going to produce, a live mouse, for example, and it's going to be this big, and then it comes out, but it's really like 4 foot tall. It's going to. It's that shock. But there's various things you could adapt to it. But I'm also quite lazy in that I just know what works with my show that works for me, and some things don't change. I'll carry things around in my box for months, if not years, and not use them.
Will you?
Yeah, because I'll be there going, oh, it's not going to work today. Oh no, it's the wrong type of audience. Oh no, it's the wrong lighting. Oh no, it's a Tuesday. Oh, no.
So many
I'll come up with excuses, and then the day I'll do it, I'll be like, why didn't I do this months ago? Because it just brought the house down.
You can't tell, can you?
No, but I'm a. Is it procrastinator?
Yeah.
I don't know, putting off the.
So let's get to this dancing. What was all that about?
Oh well, dancing. Yeah, well.
Was that a thing when you were down in London, or?
Well, that was as a child.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. You were a child prodigy.
Yeah. At the age of 5, my mother took me to learn ballet.
Right.
She liked the ballet.
Yeah.
And she took me to a ballet class. And she took my younger brother and sister a couple of years later when they were a little bit older as well. Neither of them liked it, but I took to it.
Yeah.
And I just ended up winning stuff and everything. And when I was 10 years old, I had an audition at the Royal Ballet School in London. So proper Billy Elliot stuff, because it was that time. It was 1983, miners' strike and all that sort of stuff and everything. And so my mum took me down there. It was her birthday, so it was 22nd November 1983. I had my audition. They took me to London, and I had to dance the hornpipe, and then you had to be examined. They measured your bones, how long each bone was and stuff and everything. You measured your spine, because basically you could be the most amazing dancer in the world, but if you had the wrong bones in your body, it said that he's never going to be an adult dancer. Wow. They were just that, and
I mean, how's that age as well, being told that.
And they filmed it. The BBC filmed it for a documentary about male dancers.
No way.
So I was on the BBC on BBC Two.
That was purely coincidental as well.
Yeah, we had to sign. We knew it was going to happen before the audition.
Right. Yeah.
So I had to sign like releases and stuff and everything before it happened. So and then it came out. Unfortunately, my mum had. This was end of November. Mum had passed just a week before Christmas. And then it was on the TV the following spring on the BBC. So, but I never saw it because my ballet teacher saw it, and those days you didn't have video recorders. No. There was no Sky Plus.
Of course, yeah.
There was no catch-up TV, nothing at all. Yeah. So I never saw it, and I was only in the first episode of the 4-episode series, right. And it was never brought out. And it wasn't only until about a few years ago that I found it on YouTube.
Right.
Deep in the depths of YouTube, so there is like a few seconds of me dancing a hornpipe in vest and pants as a 10-year-old boy. I didn't get in, needless to say, but at the time my dad was researching how to get a second mortgage on the house and everything because boarding school. Yeah. You'd have had to go and live in Richmond Park in London and only come home in holidays because it's 7-day week of lessons because you had your academic lessons as well as ballet, and you used to do ballet and American tap as well. Yeah, so but I did that, and then did it till about 13, I think. 13 and a bit maybe. But I was an all-boys school, secondary school.
Right.
And because at that time I was doing training twice a week. And the classes, and somebody found out.
I was going to say.
And in 1986.
Oh, mate.
It's not a good time to be doing ballet.
No.
Not really, no. And,
different times, people.
I know.
Different times.
The weirdest thing of the different times is, of all the people, I went to school with Matt Dawson, England rugby captain.
Yeah.
Question sport captain guy and everything, and
actually in the same year.
Yeah, we sat next to each other.
Right, yeah.
For French. So we were with the same form going through secondary school. So me and him there. Jimmy Carr was in the same year. Okay, but I didn't know him. He was just he only came in for sixth form. But yeah, he was in the same year. But I didn't know Jimmy. I knew him, but I didn't. We weren't, but Matt is sitting next to me for French anyway. And he was one of the people taking the mick along with everyone else. It was the ballet. And then a couple of years later. And there he was in the England camp, and they actually had Darcy Bustle or whatever, like they said, teaching them ballet moves on the sidelines to help with their poise and everything like that. And I was like, really?
But that's it, you see. Back then,
I know, it was in the 80s.
It was a brutal time to live in some respects, wasn't it?
I know.
But people don't understand the strength that a ballet dancer has got. It's phenomenal. The strength and like you say, the control of their bodies is insane, isn't it? As you well know, it's.
Well, I was the only boy in a class of like 20 odd, you know. Yeah, in the class then we had to do there was competitions and stuff. There's others from, but there weren't many boys around doing it at all.
There wouldn't be.
Not
at all. I don't think even is still now.
No.
It's still got that.
There still is a lot. I do some shows quite regularly for every year for Carlisle Dance Academy.
Yeah.
I do their awards show where they've got all the trophies and everything, and there's quite a few boys there every year. I seem to see. I must be doing it. Did it several years before lockdown. We're doing it every year since there, and I see more and more boys every year doing it.
That's encouraging, isn't it?
They do. They're different styles of dance discipline and everything, but it's
encouraging. I suppose as well though, because back then, say 80, like you say, early 80s, but the dance thing was just starting to come through then as well, wasn't it? So the hip hop was just starting to come. And there was a lot of street dance coming in, wasn't there? And like,
I wasn't doing street dance in my black footless tights.
but chucking a few ballet moves in when you were doing some like pommel horses. But it kind of like, it made, because you got that street edge to it.
Dancing
became a bit more sort
it was
of
seems
macho
very effeminate back
that-
then. Yeah. And I grew up in a small. It was small. It was a medium-sized village.
Right.
We were quite insulated from a lot of those sort of things, and it started off the thing that my mum wanted me to do, and I seemed to be good at it. And then, so she passed when I was 10, and I carried it on as much as I could as a tribute to her sort of thing. That was my thing, and then it just got to the point there that it was also too much that sort of my dad would go out to work, and I was at 10 years old I had to teach myself how to cook, clean, iron, sew, all that sort of stuff, and I was doing that for my brother and sister. I was the oldest of three, so I was sort of coming home and doing all that as well as my schoolwork, and then ballet as well. So, it's
right. That's tough.
So, but it was I think it's when I'd been doing Studio Do for a couple of years, and my dad said to me, he said, I can see why you do this now. He said because you didn't have much time to have the fun when you were a kid. You're having the fun now. And I was like, So,
and I bet you didn't consciously think that.
Oh yeah. I never once think I've missed out on anything because that was just the way it was.
Yeah.
It was just, you carried on, and where we lived, my dad's family were from the northeast. Yeah. We lived down in Buckinghamshire. Yeah. So they were 300 miles away. Yeah. My mum's family were in Holland. Right. She was born in Indonesia, but they moved to Holland when she was 8, and they lived in Haarlem, just outside Amsterdam. Right. So there was no family network. There was a couple of family friends. There was it was just we were out on our own, and it was in the 80s, a dad bringing up 3 kids. Yeah. Very strange.
It would have been. I mean, I can't think of any of my friends where there was one guy that was their mum and dad was divorced.
You always remember the first person in the area to get divorced, didn't you?
Yeah.
It was
because it was completely different times, wasn't it? And
now you know which parents are still together at the school gates. Exactly. Divorce is the norm.
But it's kind of like it was, everybody had that classic sort of 2.5 children. Dog, cat.
Dad went out to work. Mum looked after the house and the kids.
It was all like that, wasn't it? It was all like that. But like I say, times have changed, and some things have changed for the better. Some things have changed, maybe not so good. But what can we do?
It's progress, isn't it? Yeah.
And talking of progress, you've touched on it a couple of times in this little chat we've been having about your weight when you were a bit younger. So, can I talk about this?
Yeah, of course you can. There's no fat shaming going on here, or whatever it is. Yeah, it's all good.
You were on the
generous side.
Yes, extra large. And then all of a sudden, you seem to appear after COVID like you are now. If anyone can't see Stu now, he's a completely different man to how a lot of people have always known and remember. Like you touched on it yourself earlier when you said that guy from 17 years previous had said, are you same Stu to do? Because you do look, but again you touched on it earlier as well, you got into running big time, didn't you? Yeah,
well I had someone at I think it was last summer, arguing with me, saying that I was Studio Do's son. Because there's no way I could be the same person. I said, I'll get my driving license out in a second for you if you like, but I'm the same one. But it followed on from COVID hitting me so badly, and at the time the only thing they seemed to say was men seem to get it worse, and if you're overweight you're getting it even worse. And my grandparents have all passed long since, with heart issues. Right. My grandma on my mum's side, she had diabetes as well. Obviously don't know about my mum's health because she was 35 when she left. My dad passed at 63 he was. Heart issues, overweight, diabetic, smoker, all that sort of stuff. And it was just like, you're heading that way. I'm the oldest person in my family tree going in a straight line up, you know what I mean, and have been since since it was still in my 30s, so it's quite a scary sobering thought to have. So I thought, right, you need to sort yourself out. So I think in the May And actually, no, it's the 22nd of May. I started on my son's birthday. I said, right, this is it. New me.
Yeah.
Start losing some weight. Get really strict. I thought, I'm going to do that couch to 5K.
Yeah.
I think a few people are talking about doing that. I'm not going to do it yet, though, because I was, I was over 17 stone.
Were you?
I mean, if you go back a few years ago, my heaviest, I was at 19.5 stone. It's the heaviest I've ever been. But at this point, I was 17 stone, just over 17 stone. And I thought, I can't run on this 17 stone. I'll cripple myself. So I started being really strict with the diet, and then just walking. If I had to go, and we had our 20 minutes of exercise, didn't we? So I was walking around the block and Beacon Edge, and then my birthday, 14th of July, I'm going to start couch 5K.
Yeah.
Went out on my birthday, 2020, 14th of July, and the first day, absolutely hated it. Hated it. It was horrible. Yeah. For years, I'm jumping around like an idiot on stage. I carry heavy boxes of props and speaker systems up and down stairs and in the car. I must be strong. No. I thought I was going to be sick. I couldn't run 10 metres. I was just awful, I didn't have any long COVID or anything. No. It was just so unfit. Yeah. Right, I'm going to persevere. And I didn't tell anyone I was doing this. Yeah. And I did the couch 5K, and I did it all on Beacon Edge.
Did you?
I started at the top of Lower Street. There's a bench there, and I started by that bench every day. So I walked from my house up to the top of Lower Street, started this bench, and every day I could see. I went, oh, I've gone one more lamppost. Yeah. I've gone one more. I couldn't go there. And I did speak to people about it. They said, why was that not boring to you? And I went, no, I could see my progress. Yeah. It wasn't about looking at the trees and the sky and everything for me. I could see my progress. Yeah. And then by the October, I was up to 10K.
July to October?
Yeah. So just got up there, I was up to 10K. And then, did a couple of 10K races. And then park run started. And then I joined Eden Runners.
Well, I had Bobby on. Bobby Guard's story. He's in Eden Runners, but he's more of a fell runner.
He does the fell runner, yes. Yeah. Well, I saw his one and listened to it, yeah. I always thought running club would be so elitist, and it would just be, I'm not a proper runner. Complete opposite. They're the friendliest, nicest people you could ever meet.
No, that's exactly what Bobby says. But isn't it funny how they portray that image? And I'm not saying they do it on purpose. I'm not any running club. No. But that's the image we all get as non-runners. Yeah. Oh, they're just, I'm not going to.
And you think running's a solitary thing, but I've met so many people. Yeah. And some of the people at that club, you've got people who've, run dozens of marathons. Yeah. People who've represented the country. Yeah. People who've been doing marathons or whatever since the 80s. Yeah. Yeah. And you've got people who've just started couch 5K a few weeks ago. Yeah. You've got the whole mixture of ages, experience, everything. Yeah. So I really found my feet with them. And then they get a couple of club places to do London Marathon each year. Yeah. And they do a draw to get a place. And I got their club place last year.
Oh, did you? And that was your first, was that your first marathon?
That was my first ever marathon.
Because actually, if you're listening to this, we were actually filming this today, and it was the London Marathon.
London Marathon today, yeah. And I was emotional watching it today, because I watched it today on the TV, and I was emotional watching it, and because I remember when I first lived in London, I lived in Surrey Quays, right? And the day the marathon was on, we couldn't leave the house because it went past the front of the house. Because just so many people. So the day before, we bought a couple of cases of beer, and we just sat on the wall watching the runners going past, and never once thinking that I'd be one of those. Yeah. I mean, that would have been 95.
Because when did the London Marathon start? Would that have been in the 80s?
81, I think. Was the first one. I think it was 81.
Vaguely remember that.
It was 81 was the first one, I think.
Yeah. Because it was a big. Yeah. I think there was the New York Marathon. And then that was been going for a big.
They reckon today's just broken the record again for the biggest ever running event.
Really?
In the world. Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah. They reckon we've just broken it again.
Well, apparently some female runner broken the world
record. The ladies finished. Did you see it?
2 hours and odd. Did you see it? No, I was in the garden.
4 ladies all together throughout the whole 26 miles. Yeah. It gets down to the last quarter of a mile. And one just decides to kick in. and she sprinted the finish, and she left the other three. Well, the fourth one dropped off a little bit, and there's two fairly close together, but she left all of them like a massive gap at the end. She just kicked in, and it was like, wow. Yeah. And they'd run literally side by side or in front of each other all 26 miles, and the last quarter of a mile was kicked in, and she's got a new, it's classed as a women's only world record.
Right.
Because some marathons, the women start at the same time as the men.
Yeah.
And if you're in clumped together, the women, this says they can be sort of pulled along by the men's pace.
All right.
You know, if you're in a group of men around you. Yeah. But this is the world record for women, because the women start separately to the men at London. Yeah. So she knocked a minute off the world record or whatever like that, yeah. And I think that world record stood, did it say, well, it's quite a few years it stood there. Is it 2017?
Wow.
Yeah, so there's been records been a while.
Yeah.
Well, so he did that, and the men's again. The two guys were together. They were quite a big run. The two guys towards the end of the last half mile, they sort of split up, but we got British third and fourth.
Wow, bloody hell!
With second and third ever fastest British runners. So Mo's record still exists for a marathon.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got a British third and fourth.
In your experience, so when you're watching that, would you have anything left in the tank to do what she did today? Could you have?
Yeah, you do.
Do you?
You do. Just because I'm so stubborn. so I did London last year, and really emotional. And I got to the start, and I was in the start, and I was hanging around the start, and I looked to see who other Eden runners were going, and I looked who they were and everything. And I'm in the queue for the toilet, so I turned around, and it's like, you're an Eden runner. So I'm there, 50,000 other runners, and there's an Eden runner behind me in the queue. Yeah. And it was Abigail Routledge, she's from Penrith. Yeah. And I said, you're with Eden Runners? And she went, yeah. And I had a hoodie up. I said, so am I. We'd never met before.
No way.
Never met, never knew each other at all like this, yeah. And I said, like, what time are you aiming for? And I said, well, I'm aiming for like 3:30. She said, well, I'm in like the wave before you, starting waves. Yeah. Graded on what your estimated time is. She said, but I'm not feeling, I think I'm aiming for 3:30 as well. I said, well, I'm going to try and run with a 3:30 pace. Do you want to come with me? You can move back a wave, but you can't go forward. Yeah. She went, oh, okay, cool. So we did that, you know, and we just got chatting, and bless her, she probably had nightmares or PTSD after it. But, you know, she had me talking to her for about 23 miles we ran together.
Oh, God. So you were
checking each other the whole way through, checking our pace, stopping for the water, the gels, and I was going, oh, I used to work there. I used to drink in that pub. And as you'll have noticed from this podcast, ladies and gents, I can talk an awful lot. So I was talking non-stop for you know, over 3 hours that we were together. And then it's 23 miles ish. There's a bit of a crowd, a group here. It doesn't take 10 or so people, and then you're lost. I mean, I lost her, and I was like, "Where's she gone?" Where's she gone? I really wanted to finish together, and she just disappeared. And I was like, "I can't stop. No, I've got to keep going."
Pace,
I've improved it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight, mate. It's been really good.
You've hardly said much. I've been gassing way too much.
That's the best sort of guest to have on. You don't want me talking all bloody night long at people. You want the guest to, because you're the one with the story. Everyone's heard all my boring stories. So, no, it's been thoroughly enjoyed myself. It's been absolutely fantastic.
A pleasure.
Thank you for coming on. I've learned so much about you. I wasn't expecting that stock exchange story. So,
I thought most people knew all that stuff.
What to do now?
Oh, there's loads of stories from back in the day, and weird antics I got up to. Yeah. The girlfriend says I should write a book saying how am I still alive, and the various things I've got up to over the years that shouldn't have. Yeah.
Maybe we should get you back on and just have a pre-studio days.
Oh yeah. Make sure none of my clients are watching that one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad social media wasn't around back then.
No, not at all. Yeah, we all got up to things back then that we thankfully.
No, we didn't. We didn't, Tim. No. We did our homework every night.
Till next time, thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next episode of Spud Life. Thanks, guys. Cheers. See you soon. Bye.